All right, welcome everybody to our second meeting of 2026. Today is Tuesday, January 20th, and we are obviously meeting here in person at City Hall, and we have our Zoom component. We're going to go ahead and start off with our invocation, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance, and I will take care of the invocation. Please join us. Dear Lord, thank you for bringing us together tonight to do what is in the best interest of our community as a whole. Please allow us to set aside our individual differences, listen to our residents, listen to our hearts, listen to each other, be open-minded to consider others' points of view as we do our tonight's business for the city. Amen. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, we will start off with a roll call. Go ahead and start with Councilmember Darrow. Here. Councilmember Severs.
Happy to be here.
Councilmember Ball. Here. Councilmember Klingler.
Here.
Councilmember Dunn.
Happy to be here.
Councilmember Kurtz.
Present.
And Councilmember Fisher.
Here.
Councilmember Fisher, are you able to turn your camera on, or are you in a place where you can't? I just want to make sure we're not missing you.
I'm in a place where I can't.
Okay.
But I can hear just fine.
Perfect. Thank you. I just want to make sure we had everybody where they wanted to be. Okay, we will start off with the agenda approval. Are there any council members who request a change to the agenda? Got Councilmember Dunn?
Yes, Madam Mayor, I asked that General Business 11C, the reappointment of Barb Richardson as a library trustee, be moved up in the meeting to save her just some time and duration.
Okay, can you get closer to your mic a little, please?
Certainly. That's the movement of 11C, the reappointment of Barb Richardson to earlier in the meeting, just to save time for her, perhaps to 7D.
17. All right.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to move general business 11C to 7D. All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Any opposed? All right, motion passes. I've got Councilmember Kurtz first and then Councilmember Darrow.
I'd like to make a motion.
Okay.
I'd like to make a motion that we move 11A, selection of Mayor Pro Tem, to just after citizen comments for Councilmember Kurtz, who has some house guests and might not be able to attend the entirety of the meeting since we need 7.
Okay, great. Do we have a second?
Second.
Okay, all those in favor of moving the selection of Mayor Pro Tem to after citizen comments, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, that is moved. And I know Councilmember Kurtz had her hand up as well.
It was to do what we just did. Thank you.
Okay, great. Thank you. Are there any other requested changes to the agenda? All right, hearing none. Do we have a motion to approve the agenda as amended?
Madam Mayor, I move the agenda as amended.
Second.
We have a motion and a second by Councilmember Severs. Those in favor of approving the agenda as amended, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, motion passes 7-0. All right, thanks for helping us get through that bit of business first. Next up, we have citizen comments. So for those of you who are in chambers, we have our white half sheets by the door over by the exit sign over there. If you'd like to make a comment, citizen comments are open to any topic. They're limited to 3 minutes. We just ask that you fill out a sheet. So we have contact information, truly a comment period. There's no back and forth with the council, but if we need to follow up, we'll make sure we do so. And we just ask that the comments remain respectful and let us know if you live within the city limit. So I do have 3 here in person. After we do that, we will go to anybody who'd like to make a comment who's zooming in. If you'd like to, just send a note to the meeting host in the chat feature and we will get to you after in person and then we will do written comments. So first up, we have Kathy Olson. Welcome.
Right.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, please.
And adjust the mic as you need.
Thank you.
Well, first of all, thank you all for your service. We love living in Liberty Lake and we've been here for 40 years. So it's a wonderful place to live, as we all know. And thank you for the police too. That protection means a lot to us. So my husband and I have been here for 40 years and we've raised 2 sons here. And we walk daily on the path over at Sprague. And we just read Friday in the newspaper that they're planning on taking down the trees there. Well, we find that that's such a beautiful place for us to have our daily walk, and we're really disappointed to hear that news, especially in the summer when it's very, very hot and we're walking with our animals. And as you know, the temperature rises and it's hard to envision just having stumps there. The picture in the spokesman showed how full the plants are, and we know this time of year that doesn't show up, but we feel that the plants are very much alive and that they really do need trimming. They do need maintenance, and that's what we would ask for. We also understood that the arborist gave them an estimate for trimming the plants. So in my opinion, that must mean that they are available or would be able to be trimmed and would serve the city very well. I also wanted to just mention that the owners of the properties across the street were not informed until everyone just read it like on Friday. And so as we understand it, it's already been decided, but it's going to be going to the county commissioners. Well, we know the property is in the limits of Liberty Lake. So that's why we appeal to you as our council people to really evaluate this carefully before a decision's made. So thank you very much for your time.
Thank you. Kathy, if you wouldn't mind, Linda, can I pass this down? Can we get your phone number or email so someone can follow up with you?
Absolutely.
Thank you. Appreciate you being here.
Absolutely.
Next up, we have Glenn Payne. And Shane, if you could remember to put the timer up, I'd appreciate it. Thank you.
Gotta have a few notes here. I happen to live on this, on Slicer's Heaven. And on the 4, I believe it is. And I collect over 250 balls a year. And I'm really worried how many I'm gonna have to collect with those trees missing. And I have a love-hate relationship with those trees, probably what you do too. But I think that the proper thing would be to repair what we have as best we can. And maybe plan ahead and start planting some trees every other tree so that we can get some cover for our homes. It's gonna raise my insurance for sure, because I'm gonna have a lot of busted windows. I have those big picture windows. And second thing I'd like to address is that where's the city-county line on that street? I've called multiple times over different problems and said, where's the city line? Because I have a tree that is very dangerous. It's on your property or mine, I don't know, but it's on the south side of the road. And I have measured a certain part 4 years ago. It was a foot separation between the main course of the tree and then it's a separate tree. Now it's at almost 24 inches and it's leaning over the road. I've called 4 times, never have gotten a return call. So the trees are a headache. There's a mess year round. I know my neighbor and I have both had to mow the lawn numerous times, cleaning out fallen stuff and that kind of stuff. It's not well maintained by the county or the city. I don't know who's supposed to be doing it. Every morning at 6 a.m. somebody drives down there, and every morning when I walk, I have to kick branches and stuff out of there, and there's a rig. I think they're collecting the dog bags out of the canisters, but it seems like they could maybe pick the trees up too on their way. So there's a lot of issues with the trees. So anyway, and I don't envy your position. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Payne, if I could ask you as well, if you could give us your phone number or email. There, just for obviously, you know, we don't have, yeah, if you want to just give it to Rochelle, you're done. There's been a lot going behind this. And so instead of taking up, again, council comments are one way, but we will have someone follow up with both of you because there's a lot that's gone in and a lot of backstory to this.
It's a cell phone. I don't know.
Perfect. And we have Marguerite Honey Conlon. I couldn't read the last letter. I apologize if I messed that up.
My name is Marguerite Conlon. I live across the street from the East Sprague, from where they're going to remove the black locust. I have been there 50 years. I'm born and raised in the Spokane Valley, and I moved here 50 years ago. And I've managed to take care of that property. If they don't mow, I go over and mow. If they don't rake and stuff like that, I go over and rake, and I've been doing that for 50 years. And I just feel like taking the black locusts out, I do not think they're dying. I think you should be taking and cleaning them out. I just cleaned out mine on my side of the Sprague for $1,000. I did 3 trees, and it protects my house from the golf course and the golf balls. And it does everything that for the people up until Overlook. And I just think that this decision was made without allowing us, the people that live there, to be part of that decision. And I understand that in 4 to 5 years, the Liberty Lake City is going to put in a different road on Sprague. Well, that's 4 to 5 years from now, and if you have the money. And so it's really up to the money. And so why are they doing it now? And then they're going to stump the trees. That means that they'll leave about 2 feet of the tree. And when you stump a tree that are not dead, you get shoots from it. And you continue to get shoots from it. My family has an apple orchard, and we've done the same thing, stump the trees. And every year we have to go back and retake it and redo it because they keep shooting out new plants of the apple orchard. So I'm just saying to you that this decision was made without thought, without care to anybody that lives on Sprague. And to go ahead and to my knowledge, I was told today by Doug Chase, when I talked to him on the phone, that it's a done deal. And I don't think that's right at all. And to have that view, and I have a beautiful view, to be taken, to be stumped, have stumps to look at for a year, maybe more. Thank you.
Thanks for being here. I'm going to ask you the same. I think if you can just give us your email or phone number, that'd be great. And so it'll probably be Ben Turner, who probably gets in touch with you. He did do a presentation a couple weeks ago or a couple meetings ago on this, but we'll make sure to follow up.
I'm too old. Phone's just fine.
And for those of you who don't know, Doug Chase is with the county. For those of you in the audience who aren't familiar. Okay. Do we have anybody online who'd like to make a citizen comment? No?
Nobody.
Okay, and I know Rochelle has at least one written to acknowledge.
Yes, Mayor. Kathy Olson, a city resident, provided a written comment regarding the trees on Sprague.
Okay, great. And she was also one of our commenters. Okay, great. Thank you. All right, so we are done with citizen comments, and just remember there will be another opportunity at the end of the meeting. So based on our agenda changes, we are now up to the appointment of Mayor Pro Tem. And part of the reason, as Councilmember Darrow mentioned, part of the council rules of procedure is that we need all 7 council members here. Councilmember Kurtz is lucky enough to have some house guests right now, and wasn't sure if she was going to be able to stay for the entire meeting. So we want to make sure we had the opportunity to do this while we have all 7 members in attendance. So, just the general rules, and Mark, correct me if I'm wrong. I know Sean's going to try to dial in, but he is not here quite at this moment. It'll probably be another 45 minutes. Take nominations from the floor, vote, and go from there.
So yes, and to clarify, just according to the rules of procedure, which council has the discretion to waive, each member is allowed to make a motion to nominate someone.
So if there's no questions about the process, are there questions? Okay, Councilmember Ball.
I would like to nominate.
Wait. I asked, are there any questions about the process? Are there any questions from anybody? Okay, go ahead.
Okay, once again, it is my honor to nominate Councilmember Annie Kurtz for Mayor Pro Tem.
Okay, do we have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, we have a second. Do we have any other nominations? Councilmember Severs.
I'd like to nominate Councilmember Dunn.
Okay, do we have a second?
Second.
Perfect. Okay. Do we have any others?
I'd like to nominate Councilmember Severs.
Okay. I'm keeping track here. I think this is the first time we've ever had 3, so.
Making it fun.
All right, are there any others?
I don't believe there was a second.
Do we have a second?
Oh, we have a second for Councilmember Severs. Yes, no?
Second.
Okay, we have a second by Councilmember Kurtz. All right, this will get interesting. Okay, so we have three. Mark, remind me the council rules, or do we go it in order of nomination? Since we have three.
So I'll read directly from the rules of procedure. There will only be one vote for the mayor pro tem if all city council members are present at the meeting. Votes of all 7 city council members will be recorded in the record. It gives really no direction on how to winnow down from more than 1 to 1.
Okay. So what I'll do is we'll just go around the dais and and if you just state who you're voting for, if there's a clear winner, we go on. If there's a tie, well, there shouldn't be, there's 7 of you. Well, there could be 2. Okay. Anyway, so let me, wow, we only do this every 2 years, you guys. So I have to refresh my memory. So I'm just make sure I get everybody's name down here. So as we go.
So Mayor, if I can interject.
Yeah.
The implication is that votes would be taken on each nominee. And as soon as one gets 4 votes, that person would be mayor pro tem.
Okay.
It doesn't give any direction about how to order those votes, but you could make the assumption that going in order of nomination would be appropriate.
Okay. Is there any opposition to doing it in order of nomination? I'm not seeing any, so I guess we will do that. So all in favor of appointing Councilmember Kurtz as Mayor Pro Tem, please say aye, raise your hand, or make sure I get the counts here. So we got 1, 2. Councilmember Fisher, I'm assuming you're not a yay on this, so we have 2.
I'll raise my
Oh, there
hand
you are.
is-
Okay, so Councilmember Kurtz, we have got 3. Okay, next up, those in favor of Councilmember Dunn to take the seat as Mayor Pro Tem, please say aye.
Aye.
1, 2, 3, and Arlene, your hand's still up, so.
Sorry.
That's okay.
Got it.
That's what I'm sure. So we have 3 there. Okay, and those in favor of Councilmember Severs.
Aye.
Okay, all right, so we do have a tie. All right, so we are down to Councilmembers Kurtz and Councilmember Dunn. So I will go back to the beginning and we will do a revote between these 2 council members. So those in favor of Councilmember Kurtz for Mayor Pro Tem, please say aye.
Oh, aye.
Or hold your hands up so I can make sure I get 1, 2. All right, I have 2. Councilmember Fisher, I just want to make sure where you are.
Oops. Hold on 1 sec. There we go.
Okay, all right, so we have 1, 2, we got 3. Okay, those in favor of Councilmember Dunn, please say aye.
Aye.
1, 2, 3, and we've got 4. So welcome to Mayor Pro Tem Select. Councilmember Dunn, would you like to move your stuff? Or do you want to stay put for tonight?
Tonight.
Okay, all right. So, all right, well, congratulations. Well deserved. You've been sitting there for a long time and you've deserved this for a while. So,
Yeah, congratulations.
Thank you.
okay, so we'll work out all the details on that later. So next up, let me see, make sure we are getting our movements. Okay, so first up, we have announcements, proclamations, and special presentations. We have STA Connect 2035. Welcome. How are you? Do we have your presentation? Okay.
Can we go into presentation mode, Shane? There we go.
Well, thank you, Mayor, members of the council, for the opportunity to come and speak to you tonight about our 10-year strategic plan, Connect 2035. My name is Brandon Rapez-Betty. I'm our Chief Operations Officer. I've been with the agency for 12 years. In my current role, I oversee the operations of our fixed route bus service, paratransit service, rideshare, and also the maintenance of all of our vehicles, facilities, and properties. Prior to this role, I was our Chief Communications and Customer Service Officer for about 4 years. I am looking forward to providing some public education, but more so encouraging feedback on our 10-year strategic plan. But before we begin, I'd like to take a moment to acknowledge the seriousness of Sunday's double-decker bus accident and its impact on our community. Our thoughts are, of course, with everyone who was affected, our passengers, their families, and our employees, safety is and always will remain our top priority. We recognize the public's need for timely information and the importance of full transparency. We're conducting a comprehensive investigation and aim to have preliminary report with initial observations in the coming days, with the full findings coming in the weeks to follow. While I can't share specific details at this time, I'm prepared to share what I can if time permits following the presentation. As we address what happened, we also have a responsibility to continue delivering transit service and to plan for the future with purpose and intentionality. And that purpose is connecting people to opportunity across our region. Tonight's discussion is about hearing your feedback on how Spokane Transit responsibly uses public resources to sustain current service levels, invest in community-driven priorities, and to continue delivering safe, reliable transit. So with that context, let me shift to our focus tonight, the 10-year Connect 2035 plan, and the choices we have ahead as we plan for the next decade of transit in our region. We can go to the next slide. So just to walk you through the presentation tonight, I'm first going to spend some time reviewing our STA Moving Forward plan, which was our previous 10-year strategic plan that was funded by voters when they approved additional local sales tax to support the transit system. I'll then present to you the Connect 2035 initiatives and the goals associated with that. And then we'll spend a little bit talking about some of the impact based on the investments in the transit system and the benefits that brings our citizens and the region. Next slide. So this, some of you may recall that during our last strategic plan, this map was a graphic depiction of the improvements that we're making throughout the region. They highlight where we're going to have a later Saturday night service, which is has been a big priority, particularly for workers who are trying to commute home. Investments in our high performance transit network, which are transit lines that carry the vast majority of our passengers along major corridors in the region. Areas where we've introduced new service, where we've improved commuter express service, and then just general investments in customer amenities throughout the region. We'll highlight a few more of those projects in just a minute. But I did just want to kind of review the funding for that 10-year strategic plan, which we're almost finished. There were about 25 projects in that plan. There are two still outliers that we haven't finished yet. One is commuter service to Idaho. So that interstate connection would require partnerships on both sides of the state line. And we are working with some of our jurisdictional partners across in Idaho, particularly the city of Post Falls. So we're continuing to explore that. The other project, of course, is impacts here in Liberty Lake, and that's identifying location for and constructing the Appleway station, which would help improve and expand park and ride and connections throughout the system. And we'll talk a little bit more about that in just a few minutes. So if you recall, when voters approved, well, let me take a step back. For many of you, 2015, there was a ballot measure to increase sales tax by 0.3 cents and the same 25 projects. But that measure failed in the region very narrowly by about 570 something votes. So STA and our board of directors took stock of what we heard from the community, what were their priorities, and what was it they wanted to see in the plan that wasn't there before. And what we heard is that some of the communities received benefits and transit improvements much later in the 10-year plan. And there was concern that 0.3 would overfund those projects. And so we went back to the drawing board, rolled up our sleeves. We reoriented the projects so that all of the jurisdictions received projects sooner in the plan. And we decided to phase in projects so that we were right-sizing the revenue that was brought in. We did that by phasing in 0.1 cent increase in 2017, which helped us build our capital improvements. And then in 2019, when those capital improvements were in place, we increased it by another 0.1, and that gave us the operating revenue then to support those capital facilities and generally expand our service. Our goal with those revenue dollars was to expand service, improve service, and maintain our existing infrastructure. At the same time, there were fare increases. There was a 25-cent increase in 2017 and another 25-cent increase in 2019. So it was a total increase of 50 cents from $1.50 to $2. The timing of the two was intentional, that while sales taxpayers were paying more, that those customers of our system were paying the fair share for the services that they use. We can go to the next slide. I will just add that 2/10 does have a sunset clause on it. So we will be talking a little bit in a few moments about the renewal process for that, in which we plan to sustain our existing service and invest in future capital improvements. So I mentioned STA Moving Forward plan a few minutes ago and some of the improvements. This is a quick 2-minute video that highlights a lot of those improvements. And so we'll go ahead and play that for you. So as you can see, there's a variety of improvements that have happened. It's been a busy 10 years implementing those 25 projects and continuing to work on the 2 that are still underway. Those improvements were community driven. They're based on feedback from our residents and community partners throughout the region. They highlight the desire for safe transit, comfortable transit, and convenient transit. But most importantly, it's about the service hours, having availability, frequency, earlier in the morning, later at night, and just making sure we're meeting the needs of people throughout the day. So we'll go to the next slide, and this highlights an increase in our service hours. And we've been able to outperform what we had hoped to achieve at the onset of that 10-year plan. So in 2016, you can see our revenue service hours. Those are the hours that the transit doors are open and available for passengers. There's about 397,000. Our goal was to increase by about 20%, but through grants, good fiscal management, and optimization and efficiency, we've actually been able to exceed that by increasing service hours by 35% at 524,000 hours. So that's a significant improvement over where we were, and our ridership numbers demonstrate that improvement. We are one of the first agencies in the country to rebound our ridership from pre-pandemic levels with ridership of 10.4 million people in 2025. There are about 99 agencies around our size that have recovered that ridership, and we're ranked 7th on that list. So Spokane Transit is delivering on the service and demonstrating its value to the community. Next slide. Of course, there was the original slide. I forgot there were some animations there. Thank you. So we can go to the next slide. So this slide is just to highlight that we've had a lot to celebrate, and we've worked with our regional jurisdictions, community partners, organizations, nonprofit groups, healthcare entities to highlight the improvements, the physical improvements that create better connections and a better customer experience for all. whether it's digital real-time information, better lighting, more shelters, and also the stations that create the better connections. Like I said, a lot to celebrate. Next slide. I want to take a minute just to highlight some of the improvements in the STA moving forward plan that we've been able to achieve. So of course, we've had more frequent express service implemented over the last 10 years. There have been investments in our high performance transit system, in particular Route 7, which has created a connection to the Spokane International Airport. We're also continuing to invest in Route 9 with the completion of Appleway Station. We'll be able to have 2 high performance transit lines that are benefiting the city of Liberty Lake and the surrounding areas. Advancing Appleway Station, and then of course we've had some route optimization here in the city based on feedback from the city, from employers in the area, but also to ensure that the boundaries of our paratransit service area are meeting the needs of those whose disabilities prevent them from using the regular system. Next slide. So here we'll talk about Connect 2035. We can go to the next slide. So the STA board worked with community feedback to identify the 3 primary goals. So everything that we're going to have in the next 10-year strategic plan fits in at least in one of these categories, and most of them in more than one. So our first goal is to continue to elevate the customer experience. We've made big improvements, but feedback is continual. And so we're always striving to make it more convenient, more comfortable, more safe, so that it attracts more ridership, which of course has lots of other benefits. Our second goal is to lead and collaborate with our community partners to enhance the quality of life in the region. We've been a strong organization in the community, but we have a vision to be much stronger. So making better connections, more, how shall I describe them? People to people connections. So not just seeking feedback through a process, but really getting to know our community partners and understanding what's important to them. We do that by strengthening our public outreach processes, but also getting our employees out into the community more. So having more people serve on boards, more people attending their neighborhood meetings, getting that feedback firsthand and bringing that back to the agency. We also then, on to goal 3, strengthen our capacity to anticipate and respond to the demands of the region. The world is ever changing, and we've seen that more than ever in the last 5 years. And so that requires us to be nimble in making sure that we have training, infrastructure, and partnerships to make sure that we're responding to those changing needs of the region. Growth is a primary driver of that. And so a lot of what you'll hear in Connect 2035 is meant to highlight how our investments continue to support growth here in Liberty Lake and throughout the region. We included this infographic just as an educational piece in our website. So there's a lot of information in the plan. I'm only highlighting some of the top level information, but for those who are interested, these infographics kind of simplify what our message is, but there's also a lot of other detailed information there on the website. Next slide. So we're planning high performance transit. There's a few animation slides. So if you just want to advance it 3 more, thank you. 2 more. So, of course, the high performance transit routes are where we have the longest span of service from early in the morning until late at night. It's where we have more passenger amenities. So they might be transit stations, park and ride lots, markers that identify that it's an STA station. Some might have digital monitors to have real-time information. It's a larger investment because it's a larger portion of our ridership, and it's more of an opportunity to attract more people to the system. So we'll see some of those improvements out on Route 61, which Highway 2 to Fairchild Air Force Base. Many of you have probably heard about the Division BRT project that we're working in parallel with WashDOT as they advance the north-south corridor. We've got support from the state legislature and funding to move that forward. And we're also pre-approval from the Federal Transit Administration for a Small Starts grant. We're in the pipeline for that. So we'll continue to work with our representatives and our community partners to make sure that we have the strongest application and hopefully bring in about $82 million to the region from a federal grant. We'd also, I mentioned earlier, extend Route 9 to Sprague and Appleway Station. Appleway Station benefits Liberty Lake by being the the gateway to Liberty Lake from the rest of the region. It reduces parking demand around the current park and ride lot. It also allows the bus to have a shorter layover, which decreases the amount of time people spend on the bus. So it's all about operational efficiency to keep the system moving and attracting more people to it so that there's less traffic congestion. We can go to the next slide. Another program we wanted to highlight, we're going to be recommending to the STA Board of Directors that we actually amend the Connect 2035 plan based on some feedback that we've gotten so far. And one important piece of feedback is that there are areas in our region that aren't currently served by transit, but they are deserving of transit, whether that be for the populations that are in those areas or the density, the land use density. And so we can't have buses everywhere. We have limited resources, but what we can do is find innovative ways to implement transit access. And so we're going to be introducing later in 2026 a mobility on demand model. So think of this as like Uber or Lyft, but for public transit access. So people would be able to use technology to summon a ride, and that ride would take them from that area that does not have a transit service, and it would connect them to a transit hub, whether that be the closest bus stop or a transit station. It's improving access without the operational cost of continually serving that. We'll monitor that over time to see if that program is worth expansion. And in some cases, it may give us enough data to warrant transit in those areas. So it's a great convenience model for customers, and it's a great data collection model for how we plan our system. Next slide. Improving the customer experience is all around. I've mentioned amenities. Shelters are very important to people. So are benches. We have 1,700 stops in the STA system, and so it is operationally infeasible to be able to maintain and monitor all amenities at all 1,700 stations. But we are looking at the thresholds where we make this investment. Currently, our comprehensive plan policy identifies 25 boardings per hour would warrant a shelter. But what we've heard from the community is that's too inflexible. So our board of directors is considering in a comprehensive plan update thresholds that would give us more flexibility to put benches or shelters where our community is highlighting it's a priority. We can go to the next slide. So we also want to highlight our Transit Ambassador program. We've seen a change in the world over the last few years, particularly with civil behavior in public, and that extends into the transit system as well. So we developed a Transit Ambassador program based off of models from other agencies. And the goal of the program is to have STA employees in STA uniform who are there to support customers, deter unwanted behavior, and collect data. So we know that people have questions about the system. How do I pay my fare? Where do I get off? What route? What time? And so these people out in the field are there to answer those questions face to face, provide a sense of comfort. They carry tablets with them, so they're able to do translation services on the spot if that's needed. And they're also to educate about how to use our digital tools, like using your phone to make your payment, or simply tapping your debit card, which is a new feature we recently rolled out. The presence of somebody in uniform has a deterrent effect. It's difficult to measure that, but we're using data to do that. But having somebody there typically makes people behave a little bit better. But they are not security. Their job is to report. So they use their tablets to collect data where they see violations of our rules of conduct, or to call 911 or STA dispatch in the case of an immediate emergency. It's just more eyes on the street that make it better. It's not listed here, but there's one other feature I'd like to mention, and it's a customer app that we'll be rolling out this year called eLerts. And it's essentially a see something, say something app on your phone. And it allows passengers, there's a lot more passengers than there are STA employees out in the system. And it empowers those passengers to be a part of the safety and security solution. They can pull out their phone, click a couple quick buttons, and submit a security or a safety report that is immediately dispatched to our security team or our dispatch. And if it's an emergency, it automatically directs that person to call 911. So it'll be a really great feature. And then, of course, our job is to implement system optimization throughout the region, which includes updating service patterns in Spokane Valley and the Eastern region. Next slide. So there are a lot of investments that we've talked about. And so we'll talk a little bit about that. Transit has direct benefits for those who need access. So access to healthcare, education, to jobs. And for those who have no other form of transportation, it's how they live their lives. There's also indirect benefits. Of course, commute trip reduction, less traffic, less congestion that has freight mobility improvements, of course, clean air and other community benefits. But there's also the benefit of collaboration between jurisdictions when we see growth in our communities. Liberty Lake is no exception to seeing that growth. And so we've worked with the city of Liberty Lake for a long time to make sure that our growth plans benefit and support Liberty Lake's growth plans. We can go to the next slide. We can see that through investments in housing. We know that of the 26,000 new housing units constructed in the service area over the last 10 years, 56% of those are within a 10-minute walk of transit. This is most beneficial where we see higher density, particularly multifamily apartments, which has been a response to some of the housing crisis that we've seen. So having transit serve those locations increases access, reduces costs, general benefit for all. Jobs, I mentioned, 160,000 jobs are located within a quarter mile of an STA bus stop. During the pandemic, we recognize these as essential services. So these are the people who are opening the stores, cooking the food, cleaning the hotel rooms, and just general professionals who are choosing to use the system for whichever purpose they need. We can go to the next slide. So, of course, a new 10-year strategic plan requires funding. I mentioned earlier the sales tax renewal of the 2/10. That has to be implemented by 2028 to sustain that. And so we are looking at a renewal to fund this plan. If you take anything away from tonight's presentation, understand that this renewal allows us to do two things. First, it's to sustain the current service levels that we have. We've spent the last 10 years growing, and we need to renew that 2/10 to sustain what we've built so far. The second opportunity is to fund that 10-year strategic plan. We have one-time money. STA is a zero debt agency, so none of our dollars go to pay interest. It goes to provide service and build capital assets. Essentially, we save our money to build what we need in the future. So the second part, sustain is the first, invest one-time money in capital improvements and other customer experience improvements to make sure that this is an attractive system for everybody. So to renew the sales tax, just to put it in perspective, for every $5 purchase, that 1 cent would go towards supporting the sustaining and investing in our system. The STA Board of Directors right now is in discussions about the timing of a sales tax renewal, and so there'll be more information coming. A critical point to understand is that the projects that we've talked about and the improvements do rely on that funding, and so that funding has to be in place to move forward with those projects. We can't build new capital unless we know that we have the revenue to sustain it, and we only have that through a sales tax renewal. We can go to the last slide. That's a lot of information. We have a QR code here that will take you to the Connect 2035 plan. Really appreciate your time and happy to answer any questions I can with the time remaining.
Sure. Does anybody have any questions? Councilmember Ball.
I have 3 questions, actually. What do you mean by small starts? Small starts?
Yeah, so there's a program through the Federal Transit Administration. It's called the Capital Investment Grant, and it typically funds mega metropolitan transit projects. So projects that cost hundreds of millions or billions of dollars. Think Seattle, Los Angeles, New York City. The small starts grants are for projects that are relatively smaller compared to our metropolitan peers. And so the Division BRT project with the $82 million grant request falls into the small starts category.
Okay, and then where's the Appleway station? I don't know what it is.
So we're still working through the real estate acquisition. We've
Okay.
identified property south of I-90, west of Liberty Lake.
Okay, and then the mobility on demand, so they call and an Uber comes or
So the service model, we're still working out. We plan to do an RFP for software that would enable us to do this, but also an RFP, request for proposals, for operational service. So some agencies do contract with Uber or Lyft. Some agencies contract with companies who provide the direct service using their own fleet. So Via is an example of that. So Via has their own vehicles and operators. And some agencies use their own personnel to do that. We're looking at a contract model because this is a pilot program, but it would likely be an STA branded vehicle so that people know when it arrives that it's there for them, and it takes that nervousness or tension from an unknown vehicle.
and so who pays for that link though, from the little car to the bus?
So just like our fixed route services or paratransit or rideshare service, it would be subsidized. So the rider would pay a portion, and then STA's local sales tax, which provides funding for operations, would cover the remainder.
Okay, Thank you.
Any other questions? Councilmember Dur.
I think just probably one question for me. For the mobility on demand, are there other cities in the state of Washington that are using that currently?
Yes, actually, I would say our partners on the west side of the state have advanced pretty quickly, and we're learning from their experiences. C-Tran in Vancouver, Pierce Transit in Tacoma, King County Metro, Link Transit, all have models that we've looked at. And we've also looked at models from across the country.
And just follow up with that, what about age restrictions or low limit for a mobility on demand?
We typically have thresholds for age for riding alone. And so that would apply to the same for mobility on demand.
Thanks.
Anybody else? Councilmember Dunn.
Brandon, you
Sorry,
mentioned.
Mayor Pro Tem Dunn.
Brandon, you mentioned ridership, which is one of the most important metrics, in my opinion, for the performance of transit, has been consistently increasing for STA, well beyond what our peer agencies in the state. In fact, you said 7th. Could you explain a little bit more about the performance of STA in comparison to peers?
Yeah, so this ranking 7th is among 99 agencies of about our size that have rebounded to pre-pandemic levels. So we're really in the top tier. But I'll also give one other quick example. We're a member of a group called the American Bus Benchmarking Group, and it's 27 transit agencies, and we compare key performance indicators, metrics across about 100 different KPIs. And we use that for comparative assessment. So we can see where's the system average across 27 agencies, where are we falling short, who can we talk to, who's doing well, and vice versa. And we are head and shoulders above our peers in some ways. We are right at the system average in others, and there's a few areas that we can improve. But our overall performance, STA is a system that people look to as a model. I don't mean to say it sound braggy, but we work really hard, we're very lean, and we have a lot of really good ideas, and our operational efficiency is something that people eye.
I got one more. I'm going to let you brag, Brandon. STA's electric vehicle fleet is setting precedent and introducing, I would say, standards across the country. Can you introduce some of the awards that your operation has been recognized with for electric vehicle operations?
Absolutely. So we were the first in the state to have a fleet of 40 zero-emission battery electric buses. We were among the first in the country to introduce a 5-door, 60-foot battery electric bus, which you see operating on the city line. We have ranked in the top 3 for performance categories. We have a battery electric bus that has more miles in service than any other bus in the country. So we're up against LA Metro, New York City, but we had that bus in service soon. We've maintained it, kept it on the road. It has the most miles. We also have the 3rd highest fleet average miles. So relative fleets, right? LA Metro has hundreds and hundreds of battery electric buses. We have 40, but comparatively on a percentage, we are 3rd in the country for the most miles performed by an electric bus fleet. Our fleet and facilities, our zero emission fleet and facilities transition manager, Christian Bigger, is one of the most impressive professionals I know. Just for context, he's just turned 29, but he serves on the executive committee of the Zero Emission Bus Resource Alliance and has proven to be an invaluable asset with our vendors, with our jurisdictional partners, and with the OEMs who build the buses and the batteries. It's complex, always changing technology, and we are ahead of the curve in many ways.
Great to know. Congratulations. Great accomplishments.
Thank you. And Councilmember Dunn, I apologize. I failed to recognize you as an STA board member at the onset of the presentation. So thank you for your multiple services.
Good.
Does anybody else have any questions? I'll go to Councilmember Kurtz or Fisher online just in case they want to jump in. Nope. All right, not seeing any. Councilmember Darrow.
Just lastly, you mentioned shelters and ridership being what we're looking at right now. What are the other metrics that we're looking at for potential shelters?
For shelters, we would still be looking at having a standard, but we would have more flexibility. So it wouldn't be that if it's below 25 boardings per hour, we wouldn't have a shelter. That would be one consideration, but we'd be looking at community priorities, span of service, frequency. If it has half-hour service, but lower ridership, but it's an important community priority, perhaps that's a place where we do have a shelter because people have longer wait times.
Okay, thanks.
One more chance, anybody? All right, well, thank you so much for being here. Always look forward to hearing your presentations and what's going on with STA.
Thank you.
And I'm hoping finally to be able to take the Liberty Lake bus to the airport in February when I have to go. Not tomorrow morning, because Summer and I and city administrator need to catch a 5:05 flight and can't get out of Liberty Lake. Quite.
I'm getting on the bus right after this meeting.
Oh.
I hope there's a shelter.
Yeah.
All right, next up on our agenda is the Community Risk Reduction Proclamation. And we have Fire Department here. If they want to join us for this, we'll read the proclamation, take a vote, and then have the department come up and add anything that you'd like to after that. So without further ado, we'll go ahead and read the proclamation.
Thank you, Mayor. Whereas every 23 seconds, a fire department in the United States responds to a fire somewhere in the nation. And whereas fires nationally were responsible for 2,920 civilian deaths, and 75% of these fatalities in 2024 occurred in the home. And whereas fires nationally were responsible for 8,920 civilian injuries, and 75% of these injuries in 2024 were also related to fires in the home. And whereas wildland-urban interface related fires remain a concern nationwide with multi-billion-dollar losses as a result in 2024. And whereas the fire service responds to a growing number of medical calls for service, surpassing 90% of total call volume in some jurisdictions. And whereas community risk reduction is a data-informed process to identify and prioritize local risks, followed by integrated and strategic investment of resources to reduce their occurrence and impact. And whereas the value of community support from local, state, and national partners to address community risks is recognized to meet the demands on paid combination and volunteer members of the fire service. And whereas the goal of community risk reduction is to reduce the occurrence and the impact of emergency events for both community members and emergency responders through deliberate actions in the areas of the 5 E's: education, engineering, enforcement, emergency response, and the economic incentive. And whereas most fire-related and many medical calls for service are preventable, with the 5 E's performed as part of an integrated community risk reduction program. And whereas Monday, January 19th, 2026 is Martin Luther King Day, and it is nationally recognized as a National Day of Service and an opportunity for communities to reduce the risk of their community through a series of educational and other programs.
Okay, so before we move on, this is the time for the council to show a vote of support for their proclamation. So I'll entertain a motion to support the proclamation.
Madam Mayor, I move support for the named proclamation.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any questions? Hold on. Oh, I thought Councilmember Fisher had her hand up, but it was my mouse looking like a hand. Wow. Okay, if there's no questions, we'll go ahead and take a vote. Those in favor of supporting this year's proclamation to support the Community Risk Reduction Week, please say aye.
Aye.
Bye.
Okay, any opposed? All right, not hearing any. Therefore, be it resolved that the week of January 19th, 2026 through January 25th, 2026, this is reads a little strange, is proclaimed as Community Risk Reduction Week, a grassroots initiative of fire service professionals across the nation to raise awareness of the importance of CRR in the fire service community and an opportunity to make communities safer. Thank you, everybody, for your support, and we'll bring the ask our representatives from the fire department if you'd like to add anything about the proclamation, or are you just here for your report later?
Well, I'm here for the report, but I'd love to talk to you about more if you have any questions.
Sure, come on up. If you want to add anything, it looks like Councilmember Fisher has a comment or a question. Go ahead.
Oh, nope, no question. I'm good.
Okay. Is anybody else? All right, well, I will deliver the proclamation. And David, did you want a picture with the council? Okay, council, join us in the middle. Come on, gentlemen. You guys. Yeah.
CRR firefighter.
Fabulous. Good to see you here.
Thanks for being here.
I'm not. Somebody. Yes. Next time we'll put it for recording. What's that? Fine, okay. All right, thank you very much. Congratulations. No, that's one of the things. We'll give you this. Thank you so much. Yeah, if you'd like to add words that you like. Okay.
Thanks.
Huh? All the corners. I know. Running in.
Thank you very much.
I'll just add real quick before I sit down. That if you guys have any questions about community risk reduction, we can answer some of those. We got a lot of great stuff going on this week with our social media pages is going to be talking about the different elements of CRR and its importance to the community. And we're real excited about the part where we got a large grant to do some mitigation work with your community and help reduce the intensity of the fires in our area. And so with our goal with that, we're talking millions of dollars going to be filtered into the community through great work that's going to help reduce that fire intensity that is coming through our communities. We know it's going to happen. It's going to happen over and over. So how do we reduce that intensity? So that's one of the things we're doing. And along with that is the education that we'll be offering as well. So if you have any questions, feel free to ask me before we.
Anybody? Councilmember Klingler.
So can you tell us what the education will look like?
Right.
And will it happen at different age groups and those kinds of things?
So yes, part of the education that goes with that program alone will be in the schools working with kids that will be educating the kids and then sending information home with their, with the kids to go to the parents so they can, have that information. And so that'll be one of the ways that we do the education. The other part of the education that we'll be conducting is the hazard ignition zones, where we will come to your home and actually work with you and recommend what's, what should be planted in your yards. Forest practices is another portion that would be good to cover during that time. A lot of people don't know this, but when we're doing trim work around our homes and, cutting branches down, that smell alone will bring in the bark beetle and you'll get beetle infestation. I never knew that until I talked to a forester. And, when he mentioned that, I'm like, oh my gosh, we got to get that word out because the beetle infestation is throughout our community and we're doing it to ourselves and we don't even know it. So, programs like that where we can come to the homes and talk to homeowners about that, especially in this area, we're in a fire prone community. And so it's important for us to have those details. Coming to the home, I believe the program Fire, what is it? Ready Fire? I'm drawing a blank on it right now, but well, yeah, Firewise is one of them, but DNR's program is Fire Ready Program. Yeah. So that's one of the things we'll be pushing out because there's right now you could start signing up for that. And DNR has a great program and the Wildfire Ready Neighbors.
Nailed it.
That's a program that we could actually, people here are interested, they could sign up and they can sign up today. And so we'll be promoting that program. And then what that'll do is to create that list where we can go back and start going through and making contact with those people and going into their homes. So that's another element of that community education that we'll be doing.
Well, my wife is a teacher at Liberty Creek, so maybe you can stop into her classroom.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And a lot of times the best method to get into the classrooms is through these contacts right here. So appreciate that.
Yeah.
I'll remember that.
I think, Councilmember Valdez, you have your hand up.
It's same question. I wanted
Okay.
to know what the education was going to
Okay,
be.
great.
so.
Councilmember Darrow.
Just a follow-up on that. What about kids outside of the school system here, either
Mm-hmm.
homeschooled or just outside the district? Any ideas about that yet, or?
So us learning those contacts and how to get into those, different communities that offer that is important to the program that we would be launching for that, but also for our current programs that we have now. Because like, what I was saying about trying to get a hold of those contacts in the different schools, a lot of the principals, protect their employees just like a lot of us do, and try to shed some of that stuff away. But when you know a principal or somebody in the school, it's a lot easier to get your email through. And so those relationships that we build pay off tomorrow. So.
Absolutely. Thanks. Okay, anybody else? All right, well, we look forward to seeing you up there again in a few minutes. Thanks, guys. All right, next up, we have camera upgrades at city parks.
So I'm going to ask the chief to come up and help to lead this conversation. I know we have some guests that are going to contribute as well, but Chief, do you want to introduce this topic and kind of give some backstory?
I will. Thank you. Good evening, Madam Mayor, members of the council, citizens of Liberty Lake. This presentation that you're going to see today is the end result of many months of research and looking into different technologies that might benefit us as far as upgrading our city park cameras. The park system the camera systems that we have multiple camera systems in our parks right now. They're all pretty obsolete and they're inoperative. They don't work at all. And they're pretty old. And so it was essential for us to look into upgrading that system and figure out what's going to work best for us, what's going to move us beyond, what I like to think of as, resiliency to more of an anti-fragile state of, learning from our mistakes and getting stronger instead of just bouncing back and taking another report and, understanding that we have, these problems in our park. So, again, many months of research, looking into different technologies, meeting with different vendors. Thank you, Jen's crew, for assisting us with, that research and figuring out what we needed. Executech, Evan was there for us, and everyone else, our executive team, the many walkthroughs that we did at the park. And again, this presentation today is the end result of many months of research and trying to figure out what system we wanted to go with. And Verkada was that system based on many factors. And so without further ado, I'd like to turn it over to Grace, who should be on.
Yes.
From Verkada. The floor is yours.
Thank you. Should I share out my screen or is this one included in the presentation?
Theirs, it'll probably work better.
Okay, if you could share, that would be great. There we go.
Okay. How is this?
Got it.
Beautiful. Thank you. Well, yeah, thank you all for giving me the opportunity to present today. As the chief said, it's been a long time we've been working together. It's been an honor. We're excited to present our proposal to you with Verkada. Here's a quick agenda of what we'll go over today in the slides, our project team, why Verkada is different and why cities value us, and then an overview of kind of the cameras we chose for the 4 parks we walked, as well as some floor plans so you can see like a bird's eye of what we went with, and then we'll talk about the price we proposed. Here is your Verkada project team. So I'm Grace, obviously here. I am an account manager here at Verkada, covering the Eastern Washington area, specifically for the public sector. Sonica is my solutions engineer, so she's like a technical counterpart to me. So anytime you would need any assistance if you were to go with a Verkada system, technically, she's also always available. I also have here on this call Casey Annam. He is our State of Washington Public Sector Territory Manager, bringing over 30 years of experience in the public sector with him. And then Derek at Holmes Electric is going to be the one installing the Verkada system and providing the electrical if you are to choose to go with Verkada. A couple reasons why customers love Verkada, kind of 3 buckets here. We're easy, we're smart, we're scalable. In terms of easy, we're pretty plug and play. We don't have any sort of servers or backend architecture that you have to manage and maintain, which can be costly and hard. We just require power and Ethernet. You can do everything remotely from a web, and we have automatic updates. So the system just gets better on its own, like an iPhone, and you don't have to pay for those updates. We're a smart system. Obviously, you can get alerts for any sort of events you would like tampering, loitering, after hours motion in an area. It's very easy to save and share footage out live if you ever needed to. You don't have to export it over to a drive. It's all done remotely. And we're scalable. We have a product warranty of 10 years on all of our cameras. So if anything ever goes down, we'll just ship you a new one the next day. And you can really start with 5, 10, or 1,000 cameras and scale over time because they're so easy to install. Moving on. Yeah, so some key value points about Verkada. Obviously, today at this meeting, we're talking about security cameras for your parks, but maybe next year we might be talking about door access security, like smart access for doors. Maybe we'll be talking about environmental sensors for smoking, or maybe an intrusion system. All of these products are things Verkada manufactures and has under one platform. There's no other company or manufacturer that can do all of these products under a single pane of glass. It just makes your life easier to control all of your different aspects of building and facility security. Again, our architecture, it's hybrid cloud-based. So there's no NVR or DVR, any of those backend servers needed. There are SD cards in all of our cameras that are storing your data on the devices. And then our total cost of ownership, which I'll go into in a couple slides, is very predictable. We designed this system so you know exactly what you're paying and budgeting up front, which you'll see today. And you're not going to have to look at paying another cent for another 5 years. Here's just a little visual of our platform and all of the different products we have. And you can see they're all centralized under this one pane of glass here. So we offer 7 product lines to help out with physical security.
I don't mean to interrupt, Grace, but can you get straight to the presentation about the parks cameras and show us what they're going to do at the parks? Thank you.
Absolutely. So for the cameras that we scoped at the parks, these are the 3 types we chose. The main one we chose is this one here, which is essentially like 4 lenses in one install point per camera. And as you go here, here's like a visual of each of the parks we made from a bird's eye view of where these cameras are going to be located. So this is Pavilion Park. As you can see, most of these cameras are going to be mounted on light poles in the parking lot. Some guarding this back park area, some watching this pickleball and basketball court as well. This next map is of Rocky Hill Park, again from a bird's eye view. One covering your parking lot over here and courts, and then one covering this play structure, as well as that like awning under it. And you'll be able to see over to these courts as well and these entry and exit points. Here is Orchard Park. Again, one over in your entry parking lot, one over here by the play structures in this water structure, splash pad, I think you call it. And then over here, another one guarding this other back parking lot for entry and exit points. As you can see, all these cameras have 4 lenses, so they're in one spot. but they're going to be seeing 360 degrees, and each of these lenses can be pointed in any direction. Here's the last park, Town Square Park, also where we chose to put 3 of the cameras. Again, most of these are going to be mounted up on light poles and targeted at entry and exit areas mainly, as well as areas that the chief pointed out that wanted to be surveyed the most. Any questions on what I just showed you guys?
I'm not seeing any.
Okay. Yeah, so this is
Hold on, guys, give me 1 second. Councilmember Severs.
Grace, how well do the cameras work in really low light conditions?
Yeah, so they're balanced to work in highlight and low light. They also have night vision, but they have a setting on them where you can adjust them. It's called like wide dynamic range, but adjust them to work in low light if that's the condition.
Thank you.
Oh, one more, Councilmember Klingler.
So this is a single operational platform, is that correct?
Yeah.
And for future expansion, then all of the other peripherals are plug and play as well?
Yes, correct. Like if you were to add other cameras over time.
No, not just cameras, but the environmental sensors and all of those.
Yeah, good question. All also plug and play with requiring power and then the Ethernet connection to bring it to the platform, but it would all be under that same platform. Yeah.
And the cameras have a SD card, but they're also captured, the visuals are captured and stored on the cloud?
That's correct, yes.
Okay, thank you.
Back to Councilmember Severs.
The cloud storage, does each camera have a cell signal or does it have to be directly wired to Ethernet? And is there a GPS location if the camera were to be stolen?
Yeah, so each or some cameras have a cell signal that we scoped in the areas that didn't have Ethernet available. Some have Ethernet. There is like a GPS map location on the platform for all of them. You'll also get an alert if someone is trying to steal the camera. That's something the system will do. It's called like a tampering alert.
So if the camera's stolen and somebody removes it from the area before, say, PD is able to respond, is there a separate GPS signal for it to be located?
Oh, like where the camera is going once it's unplugged?
Yeah, I think that's the question.
Yeah, so if the camera isn't powered, it's not going to have like a running GPS. It's not a battery powered camera. What we have is a live alert on if someone is up and stealing it or it feels any motion or touching. So you should be able to like hop on it in real time. Hopefully not have to get to the point that you have to GPS track it.
Thank you. Oh, I'm sorry, I should ask.
Go ahead.
How easy or difficult is it to actually remove a camera once it's installed?
Yeah, they're designed to be very movable and scalable. That's one of the reasons a lot of cities like us, we do a lot of work in like intersections where you're moving around streetlights. Because there's no back end architecture, it just involves that internet port, like you guys were mentioning, or that Ethernet port. Very easy, takes probably 5 minutes to set up and probably 1 minute to take down.
So I think that's the concern.
Yeah, that's the concern. The question is more along of anti-theft. You know, if somebody was trying to steal the camera for some reason, is there a way, you know, it's installed that it makes it difficult, give the police department more time to respond to the alert?
Yeah, good question. Well, for one thing, everywhere we scoped, these cameras are at the top of your city light poles. So unless someone has a really tall ladder, I'm not sure how they would get there. They're also mounted with a pole mount and a bracket. So yeah, they're not meant to be, I apologize. I thought you were asking if they'd be movable. But they should not be easily a device that can be pulled off a pole, given they're like 100 feet in the air also.
Yeah, if I may add a little bit. So part of the installation guidelines that we put out there is through with the mounts. So they are highly secured through the mount when we do the installation. So to answer your question, yeah, it is secured. It is not something you can just yank and remove. You really have to bring the right tools. And it's something that's going to take you upwards of 10, 15 minutes. And to Grace's point, upon that time when it triggers a notification, Chief Simmons and team can actually respond in time before they actually can remove the camera.
Thank you.
May I add to that too?
Sure.
So just like our flock cameras, all of those are integrated into the real-time crime center. So not only do you have our officers watching those cameras, you're going to have the analysts at the real-time crime center watching those. And those are going to be, in their peripheral too. So if there's any tampering with this, they should receive those alarms to see that there's someone tampering with those too, as long as there's the analyst occupying the RTCC.
Okay, any other questions? All right, go ahead. Oh, one more, Councilmember, Mayor Pro Tem Dunn.
This is a centralized cloud platform in which the recordings that are captured are stored in a central location and accessible from many locations, right?
Yes, that's correct.
Great. Recently we've been concerned regarding unauthorized access to, for example, license plate reader based data. Has Verkada ever been subject to actions or claims related to unauthorized access to recorded data?
I do not believe so. If Casey, you want to help there.
So I think the question here is that on the cloud server, we do not own it. You do. City of Liberty Lake owns that data. It is a Amazon web storage cloud, which you own. So no one has access other than the credentials of who you allow to have access to that. So Verkada does not have it. No other person or any other entities will have it unless you authorize it.
Yeah, I'm just looking for any, I'll say, security breach-like actions on Verkada's part.
No.
Okay, I think.
I've got one for Chief.
Sure,
For
Chief.
moving on. Chief, this sounds like something subject to public records. And are we ready to redact and get this out? I mean, we're gonna have requests from these cameras in times a day, and do we have staffing to be able to support, removing personal information and distributing these videos?
That's a good question. We've streamlined a little bit by charging for records requests. So I assume that that's going to curtail, it's going to curve a little the malicious records requests, which is going to free up our administration for those. But at the same time, I have to balance public safety with everything else. And with the issues that we've had in our park right now, records requests are they're the last thing that I'm worried about. I'm worried about the safety of the people who frequent the parks, especially as our events grow, as our population grows, and we have more people utilizing our parks. We've had issues in our parks. I'm not going to pretend like we haven't. And so the public safety part of it is my main concern. The records request part of it, we can address that from a staffing standpoint or a logistical standpoint, if and when we have to.
So we have video cameras now. Ballpark, what percentage of our records requests are for those images?
I can't remember any. DC, do you remember Spirit out there?
He's coming this way.
I don't remember me specifically, any records requests in regards to park camera.
I don't think we've had any records requests at all for any of the park camera video that I can remember.
So that doesn't mean they will never happen, Councilmember or Mayor Pro Tem Dunn, but currently we're not experiencing that.
No, I mean, if we're going to look at it like that, someone can do a public records request for the cameras at our engineers' facilities or here at City Hall or at the PD or at the library. I mean, I don't like to think of it from again, my number one concern is public safety, not the public records request.
Councilmember Severs.
Chief, this is for you also. Sorry. Can you just speak a little bit to how your team will utilize the cameras? And I'm thinking more, is it after a crime is reported, takes place, going back and looking at footage versus somebody actually actively monitoring
No, we'll use them proactive and reactively. One of the things I failed to mention is that we've had several cameras up on a trial basis for several months. And they've been a great resource for us. They solved a lot of problems for us at Town Square, especially with the transient population. And couple that, we've partnered with Jen's crew in addressing some things that's been going on there, which I won't repeat at a city council meeting. Early in the morning with our transient population. We had an officer safety issue a couple months ago with a gentleman who was pretty violent and ended up being pretty violent. Officers got in a big old fight with him. And you know, that was caught, you know, luckily to protect us, you know, civilly. If he were to, you know, accuse us, making the accusations because of that scrap. So we were able to pull that footage for that, you know, and we used it for farmers market this year. I just kind of looked at it to see, hey, you know, if a child is ever lost, you know, how can we utilize this technology for? I'm pretty sure Grace will get into some of the features, but it has a lot of features as far as technology and how we can utilize those features to assist us with like locating lost children or identifying suspects, you know, in thefts and, you know, all the different scenarios, running those through my head. But we'll use that again, both proactively and reactively. Officers can utilize that to, you know, right now we have to drive from park to park to park at night to see who's in the park and who's violating the park, you know, rules of being in the park at night. Now you can park in one place and you can check all the parks within seconds to see if anyone's in the park and you can go address it accordingly. So that's just one example, one way you can use it proactively. Reactively, of course, we can use it in investigations and the recordings and the footage and things like that. And again, this has some features that, I mean, we just don't have with the older cameras that will help us especially in reactive investigations.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Great. And I do want to make sure we're cognizant of the time. We try to keep our special presentations to 15. So I don't know what we want to do with the next piece.
So Grace, if you can just highlight next steps, I think, unless council members have other questions about capabilities, we can move on to next steps because Chief is going to update you on what we plan to do on a future agenda.
Yeah, this is just the total pricing for everything broken down. The chief has it. I know the finance team has it as well. But yeah, that will be available for you guys to review. But these next couple slides are some references we work with in the area. And then the next steps, obviously for this project, presentation here, hopefully a city council approval with a green light to move forward. From there, we would determine when we would want to get an installer out and start installing these, whether if it's in a month or so. Again, up to that team. And then after, you know, everything's installed and ordered, we would be onboarding everybody who will be using the camera system and training them so they have access and an understanding of all the features and functionality.
Okay. I've got a quick question with regards to lead time. Obviously, you said get the order in by such and such a time. There's so many supply chain issues right now on hardware and things like that, and costs keep changing every couple of days, it seems. How are we insulating ourselves from that?
Yeah, so we have price protection baked into this quote that we worked with our public sector finance team on securing. There will be no changes or inflation anytime in the next couple weeks if this price is accepted. In terms of lead time, all of these products are in stock as of right now. We recently checked, and usually the shipping time is about 2 days from order.
Glad to hear you've got it in stock. That's what I was looking for. Thanks.
Yeah, we got it all in stock. We definitely checked. Yes, the inventory is good.
Good deal. Yes, go ahead.
So as part of the vetting process, did we talk to any other cities and municipalities about their experience and any challenges that they've had?
I did not.
Okay. I mean, they have a huge list of, you know, satisfied customers.
I just saw that list a couple of weeks ago when I was preparing with the proposal. So, and the presentation that was prepared for our city.
Okay, Councilmember Vol.
Did we get any other companies to
We did. I met with OpenEye. There's a whole list that's in the packet that's going to be presented in the agenda in February with the proposal. And I can't remember them off the top of my head, but there was 5. I specifically remember 5 and quotes from 3. One was local, did not respond very well to meeting. We met and walked through the parks with Ricotta and 2 others. They were the ones who were more receptive to working with us. And so there was 3 that were there. The other 2 were just kind of, yeah, we'll meet with you. No, I don't return your telephone call. I'm not returning emails type thing. So.
Okay.
Yeah, and the process for choosing things like this are very well documented in our financial policy. Councilmember Darrow.
Just briefly, you mentioned some other special features that these did that our current cameras do not. Can you just speak on that briefly?
It recognizes patterns, and one of the things it has is an LPR technology, and the LPR technology is different than FLOC, completely different. And it has what they call a facial recognition feature, which is not really facial recognition. It's really pattern recognition. And I can explain that more, or Grace can talk about it a little bit more because she's the expert on it. It has some features that if you can identify a suspect or a particular person, it'll give you a direction of travel. So if we had an abduction, like a child abduction, if someone says, hey, that guy just took that kid, if we have a description of the person through clothing, or the camera can say, hey, I recognize that face, it was here, here, and here. We can go and pull up all of the screenshots with that person, play those clips of where that person has been all throughout the park, and it will give us a direction of travel. So if we can identify, like, this is the last place that person was seen, even the child, it'll give you a direction of travel. Like, and there's several other features that's as far as public safety is pretty darn useful. And like I said, Grace can get into all of those. There's several.
Thank you.
If you have time.
Thanks.
Did you want some more?
I think we're good.
Okay,
Thanks.
super. Anybody have any other questions? Councilmembers Fisher or Kurtz? No? Okay. All right, so I guess we'll be looking for next steps.
Next steps are, we'll be bringing an item back for council's consideration on the February 3rd agenda.
Perfect. Great. Oh, Councilmember Severs?
Do we need to take action tonight?
No.
Given the discount?
No.
No, okay.
One other thing, Madam Mayor, I'm sorry, I'm losing my voice. I've done a lot of talking this week, so I'm hurting. If anyone is interested, again, doors are always open at the PD. Contact me. I'll sit down. I'll show you the cameras now, the trial cameras. After the meeting, I can pull it up on my MDC if anyone's interested, if you're hanging around, and show you some of these features and show you, especially the night. I mean, it's crystal clear.
Cool.
Yeah. And so, again, thank you. Thank you very much for listening. And thank you, Grace, for, I know you had a long day and hanging tight here for our meeting and sharing that presentation with us.
Great.
Of course. Thank you all for listening.
Thanks for being here. Okay, next up, we have the reappointment of Barb Richardson to the Library Board of Trustees. So this is when we had moved from 11C. So Barb has been serving on the board for, it's not quite 2 years, is it? 1 year. Okay, I knew it wasn't that long. And so, because she fulfilled a term from somebody who left, and she's been doing a wonderful job. Her face should be familiar to a lot of you, and she's interested in returning to her position. So I'd like to reappoint her with council approval. Do you have anything you want to say about your time so far on the board?
Only that it's been very pleasurable. I've learned a lot. And I would really like to continue. Yeah, it's really nice to be a liaison, I guess, between the Friends of Liberty Lake Library and the Board of Trustees. So I've been active in both for the past year and enjoying the experience.
Great. Does anybody have any questions before we take a motion and a vote? No question. Councilmember Severs.
I move to approve the appointment of Barb Richardson.
Thank you.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion, questions? Not hearing. Those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All right, any opposed? All right, motion passes 7-0. Welcome back.
Thank you.
Thank you for your service.
And it was interesting to me to hear all of the things about the transit when I was getting my PhD at WSU downtown and starting the medical school for WSU. Boy, I rode that express bus back and forth so many times. It was really, really helpful. I could get a lot of work done and I didn't have to worry about the traffic.
Super. Great. Thanks for being here and thanks for your patience and hanging around. All right, we are up to reports and inquiries. First, City Council. Are there any reports from City Council on meetings or anything from since the last meeting? Councilmember Mayor Pro Tem Dunn. I'll get it.
So I'm very much excited about a potential retreat for the City Council in the upcoming season. I want to reflect on a facilitator support we had in a past meeting. Letitia Hill was with the Vistas Government Relations Group. And I've been kind of poking around and reaching out. I don't have any results here, but I'm trying to recognize what I think could be a supportive facilitator for that.
Yeah,
No
great.
commitments.
So I've got a couple in mind, myself and Mark and I have talked about, so we can loop back on that. All right, any other City Council reports? Councilmember Darrow.
I just wanted to report that tomorrow we're going to City Action Days, Association of Washington Cities, with our legislative priorities, and I'm really looking forward to it. And hopefully, we'll have a nice report the next time we're here.
Yep. Super. Anybody else?
A
Councilmember Ball.
A question to what Mayor Pro Tem Dunn said.
Yep.
Have we come to a
We'll get to-
consensus? Okay.
Please hold until
Thank
we
you.
get City Administrator
Okay.
report. All right, anybody else on council reports? All right, not hearing any. Mine's very short. I reported on all my upcoming meetings for this month at the last meeting. I was going to mention AWC, but that's been taken care of. I will note that just another reminder that the memorial service for former Mayor Shane Brickner is this Saturday noon at Valley Real Life on Barker. And you will be seeing in front of you at the next meeting a proclamation recognizing his service to the city, both on council and as mayor. So that is forthcoming. Okay, besides that, I don't really have anything else to add since last meeting. I'll turn it over to City Administrator Mark.
So, do you want to do the honors of introducing our new?
Oh, yes, I was going to do that. Thank
Yes,
you.
yeah.
That's what I get for not writing things down. We will, as you've seen, I've talked to each one of the council members and we did have the announcement on the city website, the departure of Lisa Key. So I would like to announce and welcome Amy Mellerly, our senior planner, has accepted our request and offer to step up as interim director of planning and community development. We are very excited to have her. She's been working on pretty much all the projects Lisa's been working on too, kind of side by side. So she will do an amazing job. And so I just want to make sure that even if you want to stand up, say hi or whatever, or just wave from the audience so everybody is familiar with her face. She will be here either in person or remotely, like some of our other staff members when she has things on the agenda. So we're really excited about that and the opportunities for the rest of the staff over the coming months.
Thank you, Mayor. And so moving forward, and if Shane, as you're pulling up the city administrator report, you'll see on there that one of these items is repetitive, so we won't cover that. An item regarding the 2026 Community Satisfaction Survey, I'm happy to see as much chatter online as has occurred over the past week or so. Hopefully that continues. And all this to point out that we're leaving the survey response period open through February 27th. Just to clarify, this is a household survey, which means that we're surveying residences. That doesn't mean we can't or shouldn't collect information from our local businesses, but this survey specifically is a household survey. And so that's why it's being sent out, at least the invitations are being sent out to residential addresses. So we're off to a great start. We've got over 200 responses. But we need to keep going. So if you got the invitation in the mail, you'll be seeing some more promos about this on our website and social media channels. Please consider filling out and completing that survey. We need your feedback. Any question about the survey before we move on? So I'm going to invite Chief Simmons back to the podium. We've got some new staff members to introduce, 3 new uniformed officers that Chief is going to take pleasure in introducing to you. Chief, take it away.
Thanks, sir. First, I'd like to introduce Officer Nathaniel Davison. Nate. Officer Davison comes to us with an impressive background in both military and law enforcement service. Nate began his distinguished law enforcement career with the Alameda County Sheriff's Department in December of 2014. During his tenure, Nate excelled in several capacities, including patrol operations and as a valued member of the SWAT team. His dedication and bravery did not go unnoticed, as he received numerous commendations, including the prestigious Medal of Valor Award. Before his time in law enforcement, Nate served our country as a military police officer in the United States Army from 2004 to 2010. And I never fault him for not joining the Air Force, but his service included 2 deployments to Iraq, where he saw combat and earned a combat action badge. Thank you for your service. I've always done. Nathaniel's commitment to service and his experiences have undoubtedly shaped him into the exemplary officer he is today. In March 2003, Nate transferred to the Kootenai County Sheriff's Office, where he served until his lateral move to our agency. Next, I'd like to introduce Officer Tyler Jump. So we are equally thrilled to have Tyler. Tyler was a great addition. Tyler began his law enforcement journey with the Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department in August of 2011. Tyler's career has been marked by his exceptional investigative skills and his ability to solve complex cases. In 2022, he was assigned as an investigator at Century Station, where he successfully tackled hundreds of crimes, ranging from property offenses to violent crimes against individuals. Before joining our department, Tyler played a vital role in the burglary and robbery task force, where his expertise in plainclothes surveillance investigations and tactical apprehensions of violent serial criminals was instrumental. His collaborative efforts with local and federal agencies and district attorneys have made a significant impact across multiple jurisdictions. Tyler holds a Bachelor of Arts in Political Science, further enhancing his analytical and problem-solving capabilities. And lastly, I'd like to introduce Officer Jill Mahoney. Officer Mahoney we're welcome her to the police department. She has a strong academic background, having earned an associate degree from Cloud County Community College and a bachelor's degree in educational administration from Grand Canyon University, along with a diverse professional career that includes collegiate coaching at Western Colorado University, Southern Utah University, and the University of Colorado. And is the fire department still here?
Yes.
It's all this year in the basket.
Yeah, you guys don't have as much time to practice as the fire department.
There we go. She began her law enforcement career with the City of Boulder Police Department in 2021, where she served in multiple roles, including field training officer, SWAT negotiator, recruitment officer, and crime scene investigator. Known as dependable, hardworking, community-oriented, and guided by strong moral and ethical values, Jill is a welcome addition to our department. Thank you.
Well, are we going to make them do the gauntlet?
Oh, yeah.
Start wherever you.
You got to start at the beginning, Jill.
I feel like you guys have been here a long time already, so welcome. Love it.
All righty. Thanks, Chief. Shane, is Joko on?
Yes.
Okay. So I want to take a brief moment to introduce the council to Joko Calais. Joko is a law student at Gonzaga, and he's going to be helping us on a volunteer basis do some legislative analysis. And so, Joko, if you could just take a minute to introduce yourself to the council and maybe give them a little bit of your backstory and what you're doing at Gonzaga.
Of course, can everyone hear me okay?
Yes, we can.
All right. Thank you, City Manager McAvoy. My name is Jericho Kalis. I'm a second-year student at Gonzaga's Law School, originally from the Reno, Nevada area. My goal is to practice in local or state government in some capacity after I graduate. Before coming to law school, I worked at the Nevada legislature. So helping the city manager track bills is right up my wheelhouse. So I greatly appreciate the opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you, Joko. And we're really excited to have him plugged in because, like I said last time, having that extra horsepower is really, it's hard to quantify, but it's really a big help. So we appreciate all of the insights and all of the work that you do, Joko. And then finally, I'll just, the mayor introduced Amy and talked about her interim role. I'll just mention also, although Amy's not a new staff member, I think everybody knows and has worked with Amy to some degree. She's been here since 2022. We have 100% confidence in Amy and everyone on the team. And so we're really looking forward to having her step into a new role and working with her in a different capacity, and look forward to having her continue to provide information to the council as needed. So we anticipate good things. Any questions about any of our new staff members before we move on? And so you have the departmental reports that were distributed. If there are questions, we've got department heads here that can address some of those things if you have questions at this point.
Councilmember Ball.
I'll start with Ben. While you're walking, this is kind of an easy one. The Mission Park overlay, the one that got delayed because of the paving strike. How close are we to, getting that thing going?
So we're just waiting for the asphalt plants to open in the spring. So as soon as they're open, we're already having discussions with the project management team to get all those kind of pre-construction things done. So literally, as soon as those asphalt plants open, they'll be ready to go.
When is that? I mean, when do they open?
It depends on weather.
Okay.
Typically early April. Just needs to be warm enough to
Okay.
activate.
Okay, and then on all these pictures were these all the same tree or same area? Like this first, there's down tree blocking a trail. That looks like maybe it was over by the.
That's one of the black locust trees on Sprague, actually. Those
Really?
first two are both the same tree.
Yikes.
So that was during that windstorm we had right before Christmas.
Right, okay. And then where is it down here? Okay, on the Moulter talked about transported and disposed of excess overburden from the public works yard.
Yeah, so that's a lot of the, the used soil that we pick up, whether the street sweeper or just in general, disposed of dirt that we can't reuse because it's mixed with all sorts of things like oils from the street. So we actually take it to the county disposal. So we typically do it in larger batches because it's more economical.
Okay. But I don't, where did it come from though? I mean,
it comes from, like I said, the street sweeper. It could be some of the excess from the Moulter median because that Moulter median was kind of like this on the curb. So we have quite a bit of extra dirt. A lot of it we're going to reuse because it's actually really good dirt. So our horticulturalists will be using some of that in like planting beds and things like that. But some of it couldn't be used. So it's taken to the counties for disposal.
Okay.
Because when you clean up the roads, you pick up everything. So there is a lot of waste
Right.
it needs to be taken care of.
So back to the Moulter. Okay, so when you just right past the post office, is that one? It's still got shrubbery in it. Is it?
So all the Moulter medians will eventually look like that one, which isn't quite finished yet either. We'll have shrubs that are going to be installed this spring. But the intent is to take care of those one at a time as we have available labor.
Okay.
So we'll probably hit another one sometime late spring. Depends on when we have to start mowing grass.
Okay, yeah, and then you mentioned right before the meeting that there will be some color in there.
Yes, there'll be some plants put in the spring.
Yeah, and I showed him a picture with some really cool planters that might be a good idea for those mediums that but I'll show them to your guy.
I think one of the main points of that project is zero scaping, so we don't have to have the water and the overspray water onto the streets and everything.
We also don't have to mow them either, which is kind of
Yeah.
a safety issue.
Thanks. Okay, that's it for you.
All right, anybody else?
Well,
Can we,
oh, I had Amy. I wanted Amy.
well, but
Yeah.
let's spread out
Okay.
the opportunity to ask questions. Go ahead,
On
Councilman.
that multi-median project, are there any landscaping designs that you can share with us, specifically layouts of plants and positions?
I think Dan has been working on it, our horticulturist. I can kind of put those together, similar to kind of what I showed you.
It'd be great to share those with the community.
Renneries for Sprague, I
That's
think I'll be
good.
sharing those pretty soon. So yeah, we can put that together.
Anybody else have questions for Ben while we have him? Not seeing any. Okay, back to Councilmember Ball.
Amy. Now you get to do this, right? So, let me find your report. Oh, that's right. Yours came today, so it's separate. Okay, hold on just a second. Okay, so my first question for you, when are the next hearings for the Bellalago project? Or does that come before planning again?
That has not come back yet. We've been in talks with them, but they haven't come back with their official submission yet. They've kind of been waiting to see what happens with some of the other processes that are going on that are similar in other areas of the city.
Okay, and then since Legacy Ridge West Fourth
Mhm.
edition, when does that come before the?
Well, we just got through the appeal portion of it,
Right.
so now we'll go into the next part of the process. I'll have to look at where we are specifically in that as far as when that would come back for another decision, but
Okay.
they got what they needed to take the next step, so the next step would probably be a SEPA.
Oh, okay, okay.
Yeah, the RU was the first thing that they had to get through, and then they've got all the traditional process after that, so they've got a ways to go.
Okay, and then on the Mission Avenue storage facility to Harvard project, and then in the same area, the Mission Avenue grind and overlay, to the west side. Did you change the numbers on those, the TP numbers, because I was looking at it and they're different.
I did not, but I can sort of look at them and make sure and see if they're
Okay.
similar for the mission project.
Yeah, but I saw that one grant did not come through.
That's correct.
So does that affect the whole thing?
I'll have to check. I'm not sure.
So
100%.
it could potentially affect timing because it becomes a funding issue with a grant that was applied for not being awarded. We would then have to come up with those resources from another source. So potentially.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Any other questions on director's reports?
All right, moving on to the 2025 fourth quarter donation report. I think you have a printout in front of you, and Rochelle can walk you through all of those donations.
Yes, thank you, Mark. So beginning in October, and I won't read all of these, you all can certainly go down, but I'll highlight a few of them. The donor was Liberty Lake Better Together. They donated the Liberty Lake Rock Garden. Quite a few of our local business owners sponsored in one way or another the Home for the Holidays event. Tire Rama, Popular Companions, Banner Bank, ICCU, STCU. They provided the funding for the Signal box wraps and then also an artist stipend. And that all supported our community and of course the Parks and Rec Department. And then a few food donations. The police department had an entire Thanksgiving meal provided by Liberty Lake and Valley Golf Club. Let's see here. At City Hall, we received various food items throughout the holiday season. Meat and cheese were provided by Architects West. We also received food gift baskets from Evans, Craven, and Lackey, small food items for the police department, and then also holiday flowers arrived from Mr. and Mrs. Wick and the Liberty Lake Splash. So all of that information is for you. Thank you.
Thank you. And Just remember for new council members, we do have a threshold. Some we don't need approval from council, some we do. But by doing this once a quarter, we are able to acknowledge everything and what's kind of coming and going. So in the light of transparency, we know who's helping to encourage our staff and say thank you. Okay. Go
Any
ahead.
questions about any of those before we move on? I'm going to invite Ben back up to the podium to give you an update on the City Hall project, principally to talk about the schedule.
Shane has a slide. While I'm waiting for that, so I gave you a quick update, our last meeting, so since then, load up. We've been working on finishing up the final construction documents as well as the final contractual language before we put it out for bid. So this is just a quick overview of the upcoming schedule. You should see this in the paper this coming Sunday for the first announcement. So there's 2 announcements. It's basically in the Sunday paper 2 weeks in a row. It's also going to be online on the regular portal that the city uses. So we'll have drawings available for bidders. We've got a site visit that we're looking to plan for the morning of the 3rd of February on site with it's going to be a mandatory site visit for all interested bidders. They have a little bit of a time to request information, anything that they have questions on, either the documents, drawings, or contract. Then we'll issue a final addendum and have a scheduled bid opening on the 18th of February right here in the council chamber. So we'll open the bids on 18th February. We expect to have quite a few bids given the season and the timing. One of the reasons we pushed so hard to get this done in February was so that we could get this. It's an attractive time for contractors to bid for projects that they're going to be working on throughout the summer. And after those bid openings, if we have a qualified bid, we will bring it up for council approval at the 3 March meeting. Now, I would love to give you a construction start date, but we're going to need to talk to contractors about that as well as the current tenant. And Mark may want to share some more information on that, but we expect a construction duration of 9 to 12 months. So if everything goes to plan, we'll be sitting in the new City Hall the summer of 2027. Early summer. That's the.
And really, the only update I have to share is I had a meeting with Legacy Church today, so they're aware of this schedule. Obviously, depending on what comes in with respect to the bids, may push that by a couple of weeks or so, but they're aware of the general schedule.
Okay. Looking forward to it.
Oh, I do have some, if you'd like, we do have some materials out in the conference room just over here in the fishbowl. If you'd like to take a look at some of those materials, they're off to the side. I forgot to put them on I'll put them up. But if you kind of like to see some of the things we plan on using at the new City Hall, we'll have them up in the fishbowl right after.
All right. Any questions for Ben before he gets too far?
Thanks,
Okay.
Ben.
Run.
All right, Jen Camp, our Parks and Recreation Director, is going to come up and talk to you a little bit about some damage out at Pavilion Park. Jen.
I also have some photos for you. But I'm here to answer any questions. That was quite the topic of conversation last week. I apologize, I didn't get back to you. I just texted you. But we had some damage that was called in to us by a neighbor in the big swale down at the south.
And
West
Pavilion
corner.
Park looks awesome this time of year.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. So here's just a few pictures that my staff took after we got a report that we had some damage. So they went out and put some concrete barriers up. After that happened, it struck a lot of conversation. So I guess I'm here to answer any questions. We do this whenever there is damage to turf grass in any area. We block it off in some capacity to deter whatever's happening there. So that's not abnormal for us. We're gonna have some damage control in the spring, but it's not permanent damage, but it is vandalism, essentially. So we don't want kids riding their bikes through swales when it tears up the grass.
Shane, could you advance through there and show some of the other views just to get a sense of yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty unsightly and damaging.
No, it is not a playground. It is not a pump track. And people need to remind their kids of that.
Are there any questions?
I just have a quick question, since it obviously became a hot topic.
Mhm.
Do you have any thoughts or suggestions about how to redirect that other than just, we can't be using it that way? Any suggestions, any thoughts about what we might do in the future or anything?
I don't, it hasn't come up in the parks plan, which is interesting. Send them to the skate park. That's geared more towards that, but I understand that it's not ideal. We don't have a space like this on city property in a park that's ideal for this.
Councilmember Severs.
Jen, I'm just trying to observe from pictures, but I'm guessing this is from some sort of new e-bike or something like that.
I don't know for a fact. That's the rumor that I've heard, motorized or e-bikes.
Asking because I know that's going to be part of council discussion for policies and
Right.
procedures later, so.
Yeah.
Interesting observation of the destruction on that side, so thank
Yes,
you.
quite opinionated, so.
And I guess quick follow-up question would be roughly when would you expect to remove the concrete barriers?
Well, if we leave them there long enough, they're gonna damage the turf as well, so the idea is temporary. I'll have to talk to my staff about that. They could be up as long as once the grass starts growing again, so that we can get some rejuvenation down there and up top, so.
Great, thank you.
Yep.
I mean, I guess the last thing we want to do is fence it in. That's unsightly as well.
Well, and it's a huge swale and fencing, generally, we've had experience gets knocked over, kicked down, run over. It's not the best deterrent.
Yeah. Yeah, great. Thank you. Anybody have any other questions?
It looks like
Councilmember-
Councilmember Kurtz may have a.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Councilmember Kurtz, before we go back around.
That's okay. I had lowered my hand, but one of the comments in the community, we all got, I think the email anyway, or at least separately should have, was around engaging youth and around having them be outside and using our parks. And I understand also that this is to many users vandalism as well. And I had sent a message to Mark and looped in Mayor Pro Tem Dunn because a few years ago, I think it was actually during COVID, the Youth Commission was active at that point. And I was thinking this was on the other side of the park, but there was some discussion or some ideas around how can we make something that youth could use in this way that's intentional and on purpose, so they're not damaging this part of the park. And so I did reach out to Mark to see if there's a way to talk about that. But I do think being part of the parks plan, I think that there are youth who want to use the park in this way. And there are other people who don't want it used in this way. So how can we find a way, by engaging youth, to find a way to do some of these things in a certain area, perhaps, that isn't vandalizing the park, but is safe's not the right word, an allowed space to do something like that. Because I do hear that we do want youth to be outside. And I also don't want our park to look like this either. So if there's a way to, I don't know who could be involved in that. But I think that if there's a way to have that continued discussion about how to use the park so that it doesn't look like it's vandalized, but that youth can be outside as well. I think that was the message of the email. And I would love to be a part of that if there's something that could be put together.
Thank you. All right, I think back to Councilmember Darrow.
Just quickly, one of the points that was mentioned online and through the email was about safety of the blocks. Have we had any issues with that in any of the other placements?
No, I think they go around it.
Thank you.
Okay, any other questions? All right, thanks, Jen. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Jen. And then finally, I'm going to invite Kyle up to lead a brief discussion on public safety sales tax. This is a topic that we've previously discussed with council during the budget process, but want to give council as currently constituted an opportunity to hear some of the forthcoming initiatives that are being planned and kind of an opportunity to plan some of its own. So with that, I'll turn the floor over to Kyle.
Thank you, Mark. Mayor, council. Last November, we first brought this forward for, I guess, just to make the council aware of what we anticipate happening in 2026 regarding ballot measures, specifically involving public safety sales tax. And so Spokane County has put together a task force to begin a public engagement effort to put a ballot measure on the November ballot to increase the sales and use tax 0.2% for purposes to fund public safety and the larger public safety effort in the sphere of the county. Namely, I think the primary focus for them is detention services. And so with that, we began kind of reviewing what this might look like, the impacts on the city, and our ability to potentially maximize the city's return within its boundaries relative to what the county is doing on the countywide scale. And so so RCW 82-14-450 is the mechanism by which the county is executing this potential ballot measure. It authorizes cities and counties to submit that measure to voters for a sales and use tax dedicated for criminal justice purposes. And really the key piece here is the counties are eligible to collect up to 0.3%. They're currently collecting 1/10. The city is not charging any sort of sales tax directly within the city limits dedicated to specifically public safety. Cities are authorized to collect up to 0.1% with an aggregated total of 0.3, and so of 0.3. And so whether the county maximizes up to 0.3, if they do that, that eliminates the city's ability to charge that 0.1% at any time in the future. And so obviously the county's trajectory obviously gives us some sort of decision point, probably in the first quarter or early second quarter of 2026, as to what we potentially may or may not intend to do on our side to maximize those tax dollars within the bounds of the city. And so next slide, please, Shane. And so the mechanism obviously is a proposition. These propositions may be submitted for primary or general election. Based on the information we have, we believe that the county is going to proceed with this on a general election. And so that would be our recommendation as well. So we get obviously the greatest voter turnout, we get the greatest feedback to see where voters land on this specific topic. A simple majority is needed to approve these propositions. And then again, coming down to the timing of specifically the city's intent, the timing of the submittal of the ordinance or resolution to the county auditor plays a huge role in ultimately how the tax is dispersed. And so we'll get into that in some of the later slides. But if the county submits for their remaining allowance of 0.2%, obviously prior to the city, we lose that ability, even if they're both placed on the same ballot. And so this is a really odd occurrence where you have potentially competing interests on the same ballot. Go ahead.
Just a point of clarification. If we get in there first, can they then supersede us, or are we locked in if we get the?
We are locked in if let's say they're both approved, but we submitted our resolution first. We then supersede based on the timing.
Thank you.
Yeah. Next slide, please. And so we go through a couple of different scenarios of what those impacts are if the city decides to proceed and submits and does ultimately secure approval versus if the county proceeds as planned with the full 0.2%, and how these revenues are dispersed. So if the city proceeds and secures approval, 85% of the revenue generated from that tax is retained by the city, 15% is distributed to the county. Alternately, on the county side, if they secure approval, 60% of the revenue generated from that tax is retained by the county, and then 40% is distributed to various cities, and it's on a pro rata share. And so we potentially are seeing a lower disbursement based on our population. Next slide, please. This is just a simple graph of kind of the history of the sales and use tax. We dived into a little bit with STA, but you can see we've had 3 increases over the past, call it 8 years. And so currently, obviously, our sales tax rate is 9%. In 2025, we collected $7.8 million from that. Obviously, the vast majority of that is receipted into our general fund to fund PD, parks, administrative services. By far, the largest portion of that is public safety services that we are making those investments in. In 2021, our public safety budget was 2.8 million. In 2025 is 6.2 million. And so you can see a sizable jump in investment there. It's the city's single largest or most important priority, as bore out through all of our kind of community satisfaction and priority surveys. And so we reflect that in the investments that we put in, but we're also recognizing the increased cost it takes to deliver those services as we've come to expect. So next slide, please.
Question, Colin?
Oh, yeah, sorry.
For timing, I recognize the 23 action as an implementation of transportation benefit district. Can you recount what the 19 and 18 events were?
So one of them was a criminal justice sales tax, and I believe the other was transportation on the county side.
County level.
Yep. So we continue to, so these are the potential dollar amounts based on the table a couple slides ago, and that exact monetary impact based on some of these potential scenarios that can play out. So if the city secures approval, so 85% equates to about $720,000 to the city. And then 130 is dispersed to the county in that scenario. If the county moves forward and is approved, of their share, about $1.02 million of the revenue generated with sales and use tax in Liberty Lake will go to the county, and roughly 600,000 will be retained by the city. And so there's a little note, I apologize, it's hard to read at the bottom there. So there's a scenario where the city moves first, but both propositions are approved. The city retains 720,000 plus an additional 300,000 from the county measure. And so that would max. So in any scenario proposed by the county, they're maxing out this potential sales and use tax for public safety. And so what portion of that amount is retained by the city is played out in some of these different scenarios. So next slide, please. So we talked about this. Obviously, the intended use is to address the rising operating cost to deliver policing services while also understanding a capital component and an annual contribution to the police capital fund to tackle projects identified in the 20-year facilities master plan. Next slide, please. And so if the council chooses to proceed in potentially putting a ballot measure together with, I guess, the intent of moving prior to the county, here's what a timeline might look like for that. And so this is purely just informational tonight. We would dive deeper with a workshop in February, likely. Obviously, there'd be a public engagement component. And then we'd really look to adopt the resolution, maybe, I think if we're going into the third quarter to adopt the resolution, we run into the potential risk of having the county move first, and then we lose the ability to maximize that return. That said, this is just a suggestion on a timeline, and obviously Q4 will be the general election that we're driving for, and so this is kind of a general timeline of what that might look like. And so with that, stand for any questions. Obviously, knowing that it'd be my recommendation to bring this back as a workshop item to get official council feedback on any sort of direction, I guess, if any, on a path forward for this specific taxing mechanism.
So if there's any questions tonight, if we can keep them brief, since we will be bringing it back as a workshop. And I know, Kyle, for anybody that this is new to, I'm sure Kyle would also welcome phone calls or whatever, but to help prep you for the workshop. But saying that, are there any brief questions for Kyle tonight on this? All right. Great.
Thank
thanks.
you.
And Rochelle, if we could note for the record, Councilmember Kurtz had to leave us about 8:08, so we are down to 6.
Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you.
Mayor, that concludes my report.
Super. All right. And one we've been waiting for is Spokane Valley Fire Department. Welcome.
So my name is Ken Johnson. I'm the Deputy Fire Marshal with the Valley Fire Department. And I appreciate being here tonight, and I'll make it quick. And I'll propose that I won't go over the whole Valley statistics. I could just cover your agency if that's what you'd like.
That'd be
To
great.
speed it up. But as we get to that location, so he'll pull that up. But in the meantime, I'd like to cover the 5 E's that we talked about. This is just one of the E's that I'm going to be talking about. So there's also the other 4 that really make our program effective at the fire department. So the response time is the most costly because it covers our stations. So as we cover the community, that's just one of many facets of what we do. So if we can go ahead and advance to into the section, and we'll go to where it starts talking about the Liberty Lake. So it's further back, few more. And it'll actually just be a page. The next one, I believe.
There we
Yep,
go.
okay. And then we'll go one down. All right, so this is so overall, the department ran for the year about 25,000 calls, and for this quarter, the 350 is what we ran here in the Liberty Lake area. And so in this slide and this PowerPoint, we've broken it down so you can kind of see, what type of calls that we're running. And of course, just like any other agency, most of our calls, probably around 80%, are related to the medical. So the ALS is where the paramedics who are higher trained with more medication capabilities and more protocols capabilities. And then the BLS calls is basically where you're at an EMT level. And so we run less of those, so a lot more ALS type calls. So any questions from that? Okay, we'll go to the next one. So last month, in December, we ran 119 calls out at Station 3, and then a total for 100 or 440. So those numbers vary a little bit depending on the types of resources that are being sent out. So the numbers change a little bit. And so this breakdown here looks at last month, and then it compares it to last quarter as well. And then you guys have copies of this, right?
We
Okay. So if there's something more that you'd like to dig into, feel free to speak up. Let's go to the next slide. This slide here, overall, Spokane Valley Fire Department finished 10% ahead of last year. And slides don't match up. So let's go ahead and go back up. Oh, there it is. Right there. So it was just at the bottom of that. So we ran over 10% of the calls that we did the year prior. So when looking at on the slide as a whole, 25,000 calls, that's a large climb. And so that's one of the highest years on record that we have. And then last December was our second highest December we had on record. So the community's been very busy. When you start looking at it by month, when you look at October, November, and December and break that down, looking over the years, you can see that, it's very cyclical of when the calls are. So there's no pattern to it. So you can't really predict in our field. It's hard to predict what next month's going to look like and what's next year's going to look like. Any questions on that? Okay. And then the last slide just is basically overall the heat maps in the community, which I'm sure you guys are used to looking at. You know, for us, as we start to see those larger numbers, we typically will start to look at what's causing those calls. And so, you know, you have one single area that tends to get a lot of calls, and you guys probably, the police department's heat map does the same thing. So it's common knowledge areas that we respond to. So with that, that's the end of the slide. So if you have any questions for me or something you want me to go back on, I'll be happy to answer that.
Councilmember Klingler.
I was just wondering if you describe the CARES program a little bit more. I read up on it. I think it's a commendable way of addressing mental health challenges when it's a non-violent situation.
Right.
But how does that operate? Who do you contract with that for? Are those employees of the fire department?
So yes, they are employees of the fire department, but it's right now Spokane Fire Department has a CARES program that we share that resource with them. And so the program basically, you look at the heat maps, for example, and you notice an area or a home that you're going to a lot. And so we start to look at those calls, and then we'll have someone start to break it down and find out what's going on. And either we'll have a community resource person do that in our own department, or the guys will speak up and they'll say, hey, we're going on this person a lot. And either our folks in our community risk reduction can initiate that phone call with CARES, or the crews can do that as well. And we've seen patients where we respond on a patient literally once or twice a week for a whole year. And, you know, that type of a response is a huge commitment. And after the CARES gets involved, they completely eliminate those calls just because it's maybe some procedure or something that they couldn't have access to. And a lot of that just comes with social services, the people that have the connections, they know who to call and get them the resources that they need. And so to me, that's one of our best resources we have. And it's a valuable program. And so that's one of those prevention sides on another one of the E's that that make our agency responses a good program in whole.
Thank you.
Yep.
Okay. Any other questions? No, I think we're getting used to seeing the dots get darker in the same places. Thanks so much for being here.
Appreciate it.
Okay, Parks and Arts Commission. Welcome, Nancy.
Good evening, Mayor and new council people and old council people and new Mayor Pro Tem. Congratulations. Nancy Hill, Parks and Arts Commission. I'm always happy to be here. We have a little bit of a PowerPoint, but for the essence of time, I will start talking now. We had the pleasure of meeting a joint meeting with the Planning Commission in December on phase 2 of the Parks Plan, and we were pretty much all on the same page on looking at the level of service, and we're kind of working towards the end of wrapping that phase 2 up, and it was a great meeting. It's always good to share resources. Next slide, please. Weather permitting, we are now officially ready to install our newest utility box wraps. You'll see the slides more to the left are the more patriotic ones, and they'll go at Legacy, at the original entrance to Legacy Ridge there. And then the other two will go where the new sculpture project is there at Kramer Parkway for those boxes. And we're really excited about getting those covered and bringing something to the area. We had picked the patriotic theme for Legacy Ridge because the Hometown Heroes banners go through there, and we were kind of trying to carry that forward, and it seemed exciting. So we're waiting for the weather, and they'll be installed. Next slide. And let's skip one more slide. I looked through the little snippet of the council questions at the meeting when we had the donation request from Popular Companions for the Rainbow Bridge project. I'll remind you that the Parks and Arts Commission is very excited about the Rainbow Bridge project, and We may have not fleshed out every detail because we were super excited. Mara Crawwell is here in the audience today. You probably all know her if you have a pet, but she is the owner of Popular Companions and a very community-minded person. You'll see from this picture, that is pretty much what the bridge is going to look like. Basically, it's going to be subdued looking because we don't want anything garish in the park that will attract undue attention, and it'll be a quiet place for reflection. The dry creek bed may have some rainbow rocks in it. We don't know. But some of the questions that you had specifically were how we're going to get the tags. I think, Hugh, you had asked about that. And what we anticipate happening is there'll be a sign at the site recognizing the donor as Popular Companion and then explaining what a rainbow bridge is and about the tags. And there'll be a little QR code that the individual could scan. And then that QR code will go to order the tags, which would be through Popular Companions. If individuals wanted to bring their own tags, like your old license from your dog or something like that, or ID tag, I know I have both of those, then they could do that. We are certainly going to encourage, and I don't know how we're going to do that. We'll see what we come up with the signage of some sense of uniformity, but a few odd tags here and there aren't going to do anything. What I personally hope that is we don't really get collars hung there, because I know from my time at Scraps, we had a memorial wall and people actually came and took the collars because they thought, oh, free collars. So
No.
and they don't weather that well. So we're really going to try to direct, I know people, we're really going to try to direct people to just doing the tags, and we'll make it convenient with the QR code and where they can do it through Popular Companions. And Mara has expressed that, you know, they just want to cover their cost. This is a passion project for them, and they think it's something that the community will appreciate. And so that's how we will do the codes and how we will do the, and we can also advertise the codes on social media. I mean, if an organization like Pet Savers that sees grieving people, they could, you know, direct them to the QR code, and we may get participants on the bridge from outside our area, and they'll come and visit our community. I know there's a question about donations. We haven't really fleshed it out. Sometimes when people see a project like that, they want to make donations. So whether Popular Companions wants to gather donations like they might for anybody and then donate them to the city, they can. But as a city, we're not going to really be involved in collecting the donations, because that, you know, I'm sure, I don't know what Mark would think, but I think that would be, you know, awkward. But we always accept donations for things that maybe it helps with the maintenance of the bridge as we go down, or some kind of enhancement to the site. We're hoping, you know, there's going to be at least a bench for reflection. I think also it came up originally, there was some talk about paver bricks or something like that, but we've kind of just gone off that topic. We like the idea of the dry creek bed coming down out of the rocky hill into the little rock pile with the bridge kind of going across that. So I think, you know, the main things are the tags, and then how we would handle donations if there were any. But if she wants to do an event, raise money for the city, and then we're good with that, I think, anyway. So what other questions do you have for the Rainbow Bridge project?
I know there were several before, so I'll look to you guys. Is there any question, follow up to what Nancy has shared?
I guess more of a.
Go ahead.
More of a comment that what you just shared is different from what was in the packet in our last council meeting. So I think my perspective would be, I like to see this. I look at this, Mara, thank you so much. It's a wonderful project. And I look at this as an art installation type project for the community. And as with any other art installation project, I would personally want to see what the details are. So you shared, the donations, I don't know how that works, but the project called for a donation box that would be there. And there were bricks that it was
yes,
said in the project that those bricks must be purchased from Popular Companions. So that sparked some of my questions last time, just saying.
Suggest it. I'm Mara Kroll with Popular Companions. Thank you. I think that the packet that was submitted previously was a little premature, that we have had many further discussions, you know, with Mark and Jen and obviously Nancy. And so that was a little premature. What you're seeing today, and I think there's another slide as well.
We don't have
that this is truly what Yeah, the low.
Back up 3. There.
Yeah, so the one slide to the left is showing the actual location that Parks and Arts has approved. And then this is, just a mock-up of on the right of kind of the signage, the bench, kind of the vision of the bridge. But then the other slides show truly, what the bridge looks like. And the vision is something no less than like 20 foot by 4 foot wide, something like that. But we would not have a donation box. No, everything would be driven, by the QR code, basically. And, I think folks that know us, we infuse a lot of money into our city.
Absolutely.
Just as a very small business for the last 15 years. But, this is truly a passion for us, and we want to give this gift, back to our city. But, we can certainly do donations via, a QR code, in my opinion, and the tags as well.
I didn't hear anything but huge support for this at the last meeting, so don't get the questions. Don't take those the wrong way. I think everybody was very, very supportive of this. There's some details to get ironed out. So I guess my question is, what do we do when it gets full? Because
I know,
fill up,
right?
that.
I know. Well, maybe we'll have a second Rainbow Bridge. I don't know. Yeah.
There you go. Councilmember Darrow.
Yeah, I just want to say thank you very much. I think this is a great project. It was definitely based on the presentation before and what was in there. That was just some wording that was concerning. Otherwise, I'm very excited for this project. So thank you very much.
Okay. Oh, sure.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So I'll have this on the February 3rd agenda for follow-up approval. As she stated, it had the proposal information on it, which was the early information. I didn't have these pictures at that time, so I will adapt and kind of rewrite the agenda item with current pictures and everything. So
Super.
Thank you.
Great. Looking forward to it.
And I
At least I
do
don't have to ask
apologize. We
about
were
me.
so excited that we.
No
I
apologies
looked at the
necessary.
question, I'm like, that's a really good question. So thank you for that. Next slide, please. Finally, this is a really exciting project. It dovetails on your earlier report, but our artist consultant, which was approved in this year's budget, and staff met with BCRA and kind of outlined how that we're going to dovetail into the project to plan for potential art, which we hope will be something on the outside of City Hall and something on the inside of City Hall. And we believe we've budgeted appropriately, and I'm excited to see about the 27-year move-in date, because that means we can spend money on the art this year and give the artists a chance to actually do the art. So maybe it will all dovetail together where it'll be installed before we have the grand opening. To make this more efficient, the Parks and Arts Commission has voted a 3-person subcommittee to work with the artist consultant. They'll kind of massage all that, bring it back to the commission, and then we'll share with you. So we're really excited about that. And that's my presentation for this evening, unless you have any questions.
All right, do we have any questions?
Good.
No,
Well, we
thanks.
appreciate your continued support and your due diligence on making us sure we do our work for ourselves. Thanks.
Thank you.
All right, next up, Liberty Lake Sewer and Water District. Good to see you, Nada. Thanks for coming.
Happy New Year. So I haven't seen you guys in a while. Just 2 quick things. One, the well went well last fall. It's all done. There's not anything around it yet. We're gonna put the well house out for bid later this winter with construction in the spring. And Ben's my witness on this, but I am personally committed to making sure that it looks nice. It's not gonna look great because it has to be a hardened facility. But it is kind of, from my perspective, the front door, one of the front doors to the city. So I want to make sure that we do it in a way that it at least is inconspicuous or looks nice, we landscape it nice and everything else. So I don't know what that's going to be, but that's something I care a lot about.
Is this
But,
over by Ace?
The one by Ace, yeah. So you're driving in, and there's one there already, and it has to have a fence around it with some, kind of public safety stuff on top. So we'll do what we can. The second thing then is just to say that, we're happy to support the city in any way and collaborate with y'all on any sort of water initiatives. We are the water purveyor, so we're involved in some of this stuff already. We've got, low flow hardware that we can give to people. And I got from the district a long time ago, a device you put on your sprinkler system that will measure the moisture. So it doesn't, if it rains that night, it'll measure the moisture and won't turn the sprinklers on. So happy to work with you guys in whatever way you want. We're available anytime. So give us a shout.
Great.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you.
Any
Thank you.
questions?
Thanks.
All
I
right.
don't see any. Thanks for being here. All right, so that wraps up our reports. Woo, that's a lot tonight. So next up is our workshop discussion on Spokane Riverkeeper.
So as Caitlin Scott's coming up to the podium, I'll just introduce this mayor by saying that, and as all of the council members have now seen, we received a letter from a coalition led by the Spokane Riverkeeper back in October. And this is just a workshop that has been discussed. We ran into scheduling issues with the budget development. And so here we are in January, now being able to give some time to this topic. And so with that, I'll turn the floor over to Caitlin. I think she has a brief presentation and then we can get into discussion.
Yeah, super brief. Thank you all for having me. Good evening. My name is Caitlin. You want to pull my slides back up? My name is Caitlin and I'm the water protector for Spokane Riverkeeper. We work, if you don't know us, we are a nonprofit that works across the region to protect and restore the Spokane River for future generations. We do that through advocacy like this, but also with science and community engagement and community education. Once my slides are back up, you'll see. Okay, then you can go to the next one. And play that video. Yeah. So what you're seeing here is the Spokane River is past August. These power lines cross right at about Flora Road, which is over in Spokane Valley. This is just below the city line here. We saw large stretches of the river run completely dry, something that many longtime residents, it was playing. What happened? There we go. Many longtime residents have never seen this before, and we could not find any reference to this in any recorded history. This means that fish and wildlife were left stranded to die, recreation on the water completely disappeared, and the Centennial Trail, a place where you can normally find energy and inspiration from the river, became a quiet and unsettling view of a barren, dry riverbed. I want to be clear. I'm not here to say that Liberty Lake alone can save this stretch of river, or that a single decision is going to change what we're seeing here on the screen. What this shows, though, is how fragile our water supply already is. A system that runs dry like this is a system at its limit. This is a dire warning. As I know you've probably heard before, Liberty Lake Sewer and Water talks about this. The river is directly connected to our aquifer, which supplies all of our drinking water and the region's drinking water as a whole. Summer pumping from the aquifer reduces river flows immediately. Our water use shows up in our river in real time, and we see these changes on our gauges daily. If you saw the pictures, this is the exact spot that it was, and it was the entire river, and there were a lot of people that said it was that side channel. It's not. It's the whole river. We're really positive to see that Liberty Lake has taken some positive steps towards voluntary conservation and outreach, including providing some of those low flow upgrades that were just mentioned. We're really appreciative of these efforts, but it's really not enough. And this summer really shows us how this is not enough. And as a region, we need to do more. The city's website also explains that conservation is only necessary because ecology will not allocate additional water or grant new water rights. The deeper reality is this basin is likely already over-appropriated, and there isn't any more water to give. And conservation isn't just about regulatory limits. It's about protecting a river and protecting this natural system that's already at its breaking point. Liberty Lake is really in a unique position. The city is surrounded by and overlaps with irrigation districts and has lots of different water purveyors around it. While the city doesn't control all that water use, it does have the ability to use ordinances and standards and to really be a leader in how water is used within and beyond its boundaries. So we're asking the city to use that authority to push for some society-level changes, strong enforcement measures, drought response plans tied to river flows, and a regional collaboration addressing this issue. Not because it'll fix everything, but because doing nothing guarantees things will get worse. This isn't about assigning blame or promising quick fixes. It's about recognizing a clear warning sign and choosing to act now to protect the river and our shared water supply for the long term. So thank you for your time and your leadership. That's all I have for you. I really want your feedback and your input on this issue and hear what you guys have for me.
So I'll go ahead and open up for questions and discussion.
Don't mind me taking notes.
Councilmember Ball.
Hi, Caitlin. I appreciate you coming here and sharing that with us. I'm concerned about the river as well. What suggestions do you have that we should do as a city to control how much water we use?
There's a few, one you're already doing with xeriscaping and really leading by example by putting in these non-irrigated spaces in public spaces. I think that goes a really long way. Citizens definitely recognize when the government is doing the action that they ask for first. And the second part is then asking your community to do that as well. We've seen in other jurisdictions everything from voluntary conservation measures to strong enforceable conservation measures. And we know that those ones that are actually enforceable, the ones that come with civil penalties, carry a lot more weight. They carry a lot more ability to make change. So we would recommend an enforceable provision that adds onto your civil code a violation for excessive watering within certain parameters. And I'd be happy to work with you on what that would look like. I don't have those figures right in my mind because, like I said, Liberty Lake is in a little bit of a unique situation here.
But, excuse me, anybody else have any questions? Councilmember Klingler.
So, it sounds like kind of a carrot and stick scenario, right? Can you speak to how well the carrot has worked, as compared to using the stick and having it, mandated and those kinds of things, and what kind of outreach programs you've used to kind of gentle people into this, because it represents, a big change for some folks.
Yeah.
They may love the river as well, but, how do we work to help our community understand the impact?
Yeah, we've definitely seen that education goes a long way, and teaching people about how their water use can impact the river, especially in summertime, really can go a long way. But we don't think it's really enough. And I'll use the city of Spokane as an example because they've done a lot of outreach. They have a whole WaterWise team that does household outreach. They do events. They do a ton. And yet, over the 4 years that WaterWise has existed, their average water use has gone down 1 gallon per day per resident. That's the right abbreviation. Yes, 1 gallon. But on the flip side, they've done very intentional outreach to commercial properties, and they've worked with commercial users to really recognize their water use and hone in on those top water users. And we've seen dramatic decreases on the commercial side. The commercial side, they've done things like installing water meters and helping implement water conservation practices on a business-to-business level that we've seen really great successes on that are really, there was an Inlander article, I'm not going to quote the numbers because I don't remember them. There was an Inland article in December where they had the top water users in Spokane listed, and some that had dropped out since then were some of the city's golf courses. And a lot of that was because of irrigation upgrades that they made, just working with their irrigation teams. I don't mean they paid for irrigation upgrades. I mean that they worked with the irrigation teams for the most part to help hone in when watering was optimal and how to best water the golfing facilities. That's just one example, but they don't have an enforceable statute on the residential side, and we still see a lot of waste in that area. And as I mentioned, Spokane last year reported 199 gallons per day per user. The national average is 99. So it's still twice the national average. I won't tell you what yours is. You can look it up. It's scary too. It does mean it's higher. But yeah, okay. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, it did. I had just a follow-up question about, some of the things that, and I don't remember your name and I apologize. That you mentioned about, water sensors for your lawn and, low flow and those kinds of things, for energy conservation and converting to solar. They have programs out there. Are you guys aware of, and can you share information around low cost ways, subsidized ways that people can change their water use habits?
Yeah. Do you mean like in addition to those programs? It's
yeah.
my understanding that those programs right now are offered to residents mostly through mailers and like through social media outreach. If you get your water bill and it has a thing that says you qualify, you can get these things. That's my understanding. I'm not a resident, so I don't get those mailers. And I don't know the full scope. I think the water department would be better suited to explain the scope of those programs as they exist right now. In part because I mean, I'm not a resident here, so I see what's publicly available, and what's publicly available says that there's no water rights, so we have to conserve water.
Okay, Councilman, Mayor Pro Tem Dunn.
I guess I just, from my perspective, Caitlin, to clarify, the city of Liberty Lake is not a water provider. We partner with the agency that preceded the city actually in our community, Liberty Lake Sewer and Water District. And they're the ones who really have the best gauge of the consumers that are out there trending with respect to consumption. And then also grants and other opportunities to control or even reduce and incent the reduction of consumption. I just say from my perspective, a commitment of the city to partner with the district insofar as cooperation and even I'd say collaboration over specific code changes, if that's what it took, in order to get there. But as we really don't have like a water department. We'd look to partnership with the district to be able to actually operationalize that.
Yeah, that makes total sense. That's how.
Okay.
All right, give me a second, I'm making some notes. All right, anybody else? Oh, Councilmember Severs.
It's more of a comment for, I'm a conservationist too. I look at this and there's a lot of scary things out there, but I'm also a believer in data, and you didn't bring a lot of data to us. You showed a couple pictures, and I'd love to see the history of the Spokane River and when it has run dry over the last 150 years.
We don't have any other history other than this one.
I would encourage you to speak with a specialist at Avista. So I
We
did prior to
have
today.
to Avista.
I did prior to today, and they shared some additional resources on data that goes back over a long period of time, and also aquifer data.
Can you
Just,
share who you spoke with? I just would
I
like their
cannot,
name.
but I would encourage the city that we could bring somebody in if we wanted to. I would just encourage partnership with Avista, Liberty Lake Sewer and Water as experts alongside of river keepers to come bring data prior to us thinking about decisions at the city level.
Yeah, because there's a dam that controls a lot of that.
That's several.
There's only one dam that is above this stretch, actually. It's Post Falls Dam. And when we spoke with Avista, they shared with us a graph that showed that even when we actually have pictures of when they had flows lower than 300 CFS, I want to say it was 293, and there was still water in the stretch of the river. So I'm really interested to see what they have, because the license manager at Avista that I work with does not know of that information.
Great. Okay, do we have any other questions? All right, thanks so much for being here. We appreciate your time.
Thank you for your time.
Great. Okay, we are up to general business consent agenda.
Madam Mayor, I would move the consent agenda items A through C.
Do we have a second?
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second by Councilmember Severs. Those, excuse me, those in favor of approving general business 10 consent agenda items A, B, and C, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Not hearing any, motion passes 6-0. All right.
Madam Mayor, I would move general business action item B, the appointment of Spokane Transit Authority Board of Directors.
Okay, do we have a second for discussion, and then we'll have to choose who?
Second.
Okay. All right, so we have a motion and a second. So Mayor Pro Tem doesn't have to toot his own horn. So Dan's been the representative on the STA board for several years. How many years now?
A couple.
Okay, at least 2. And he's doing a fabulous job representing the city and the other small cities as well on that board. So it would be my request as mayor to have him continue in that position, but we would need a motion to nominate and approve him, and then a final vote to do that. So I see a Councilmember Severs' hand.
Quick question.
Yeah.
Do you want to continue in that role?
Sure. Happy to, and look forward to giving as much information back to this group as I can about the operations in transit.
Then I would move to continue the appointment of Mayor Pro Tem Dunn.
Do we have a second? Okay, we have a couple seconds. We'll go with the loudest, Councilmember Fisher. No, it's just because the speakers are up over here.
Thank you.
No, thank you. All right, any discussion? All right, not hearing any, then those in favor of reappointing Mayor Pro Tem Dunn to serve as the elected official on the Spokane Transit Authority Board of Directors, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? My motion passes 6-0, and with that, I can sign that letter. All right.
Madam Mayor, I move general business action 11D, the approval of purchase and outfitting of a police vehicle not to exceed 75,000.
Second.
We have a second from Councilmember Severs. Any questions? Chief's here if you have any questions. Discussion, it's budgeted. Okay. So question for you, Chief. I know we're having electronics lead time issues. Are police cars okay with regards to lead times? Are they back to normal? I know over the years we've struggled with supply. Or you're gonna be able to get them in a reasonable amount of time?
It depends on what you order.
Okay.
And so Ford, right now, Ford has a disclaimer, at least on the state bid, that says there's no guarantee that if we order 2026 cars, the 2026 models, that we're going to get that year model. So if we order cars now, it could be 2 years or 2.5 years or 3 years from now until we see those vehicles.
Okay.
I know there's been agencies who have switched their vehicles, kind of like we did, just so that we're making sure that we are able to continue that rotation, rotate those higher mileage vehicles out and those vehicles that are giving us issues. And so I know people have seen Spokane PD with trucks, and so that's all because of supply chain issues. And so we're just kind of doing what we can. Dodge, there hasn't been any issues. We've been fairly happy with the Dodges. We haven't had the mechanical issues that we've had with Fords out of the Dodges thus far. And so we're probably going to stick with those for the most part. Unless vehicles, we ordered a couple of Fords because they were in stock last year. They were like on the lot.
Oh.
And it's like, grab those now, like
Okay.
hold those for us. Please don't sell them type thing. So,
Okay, great. Okay, well, and from what I understand, it's just gonna keep getting worse as supplies of RAM and all that keep going out. So, okay, I just want to check on that. All right, so we had a motion and a second, I believe. Yep. And if there's no questions, I'll go ahead and take the vote. Those in favor of approving the purchase and outfitting of a police vehicle for an amount not to exceed $75,000, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes 6-0. Yes, go ahead.
So another thing that we're exploring along with Kyle and the finance department is some alternatives to even new vehicle purchases, maybe used. And just kind of exploring the options and how safe that is, and just kind of doing our due diligence to do the research and see what's out there. There are some entities out there that sell used vehicles. There's some entities that through RFP process that we may be able to get some vehicles that are fully equipped. But those aren't from our region. Those are from the Midwest. And so we're exploring a bunch of different avenues to make sure that number one, we're getting the biggest bang for our buck. And number two, we're able to get vehicles as needed, when needed, and equipped the way that we need and that we want.
Great, thank you. Appreciate your creativity. I know we've had to do that in the past, so. All right,
Madam Mayor, I move item 11, general business 11E, the purchase of 5 patrol rifles, Sons of Liberty Gun Works, not to exceed 15,000.
Second.
okay, we have a motion and a second. Any questions or discussion on this one? Councilmember Klingler.
I was just curious when I was reading about it, what we do with the decommissioned guns. Are they put up for auction or destroyed?
The decommissioned guns that we usually use or we have on stock right now, we've been utilizing those as a trade for some other options for like ammo and ammunition. So those guns have been going back into the gun store so we can actually get some other product for them.
Okay, cool. Thanks.
You bet.
If there's no,
Just for the newer council members, just to let you know, excuse me, I'm sorry, for the newer council members, just to let you know, that is part of a rotation plan for our firearms. That was handguns and rifles. That started, I believe, this is the 3rd year for those. And so our firearms have a lifespan. And we don't exceed that lifespan because you start having mechanical issues, and what you don't want is you're going to go click when you need to go bang. And so, we're replacing those as needed.
okay, there's no further questions. All right, those in favor of approving the purchase of 5 Sons of Liberty Gun Work rifles from Sharpshooting Indoor Range in the amount not to exceed $15,000, please say aye.
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 All right, any opposed? All right, motion passes 6-0. We are up to council comments, and again, not having to do with future workshops. Do we have any additional council comments tonight? Councilman Mayor Pro Tem Dunn.
Yeah. Hey, I would just want to say a word of thanks and a grateful confidence for both the appointments of Mayor Pro Tem and also to go on with STA. Mean to rise to the commitment and make sure that this council is served right. Thanks.
Right, we have every confidence in you. All right, any other council comments? All right, not hearing any. We have no public hearings or appeals, no resolutions, no ordinances, no emergency ordinances, introduction of upcoming agenda items. So that would be your workshop worksheet here. So
Mayor, before we
Yes.
get into that, it may be wise to take a motion for an extension to the meeting where,
oh gosh, I didn't realize what time it
Yeah.
was. Do we have a motion to extend to maybe 9:15?
I was gonna say, Madam Mayor, I move the extend the meeting to 9:15.
Second.
Okay, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, we're extended to 9:15. Okay, so a lot of these things, I don't think really anything's really changed on the workshops list here. We're still working on dates on some things. And there was one, Mark, we talked about,
it's the retreat.
the retreat, yes.
Yep.
So if you or Rochelle want to talk about where we are on the retreat dates.
So it sounds like based on the combination of 4 different time slots that were polled, there is not one where all 7 people are available together. And so the option there is either hold a retreat without 7 council members, which is not ideal, or search for some more slots either on different days or downstream of that 28th. February 28th date. And so I would ask that question of the council. Are you willing to look at maybe some midweek slots on off council weeks? Do you want to continue to try to shoot for a Saturday, but later than February 28th? What is, from a scheduling perspective, you think the best option, given everybody's commitments?
Councilmember Darrow.
What was the date or date and time with the most? And if that's something that maybe somebody just was maybe they could be persuaded.
Do you have that by persuaded? Do you mean
I
Gently-
can look that up quickly.
Rochelle?
Gently asked to look at their calendar a second time.
Either that, or we could look at an off Tuesday, possibly, start a little bit early, and try to condense it, but have Rochelle pull that up real quick.
Okay. Okay, so it appeared the best option for 5 or 6 council members was February 28th, the 1 to 5 p.m. slot. I think if we could just get 1 or 2 folks to potentially consider that, then that day would work.
And the last thing we want to do is have somebody missing.
Sure. And the other one that let's see, there was just 1 or 2 who could not do that day was February 21st, also a Saturday, and that was the 1 to 5 p.m. slot. So I certainly can put those back out to the council and see if there's any wiggle room.
Go ahead, Councilmember Severs.
I guess I would just, personally, I would offer up that other days of the week are fine, an evening, a Tuesday evening, or whatever works, or the following Saturday might be good. I am traveling. I'm a long ways from Liberty Lake on the 21st. So.
So we still, sorry, Mayor Pro Tem, go.
No, go ahead, please.
I was going to suggest based on that, it may be wise to put out some extra options and just go back out with another poll and get some additional feedback.
Sounds good. All right, we will do that. Thank you. Councilmember Vol.
Yeah, I spoke with Mark today. I would like, if possible, but I see you've got 20-year capital facilities plan on the 7th, but that would be a good date for the hazard mitigation risk plan, because I am planning to attend CERT training March 24th through the 27th or something like that. So it'd be fresh in my mind.
Well, we also have other things that roll into that. So if the rest of that plan is not ready at that point, we need to make sure all the other pieces are ready. And I know Ben's very involved in that. So I'd be looking to him more for dates. I understand you're going to the training, but there are other moving pieces
Well, and that's
county-wide.
fine. I'm just letting you know where
right.
I am at.
Yeah,
on this
understood.
Issue. Yeah.
So we'll need a,
And if anybody
done.
here on council or in the audience is interested in CERT training, it's free. It's a 3-day course, and I can give you the contact information for the individual who is in charge of that. And they're filling up fast. They can only accommodate 60 people. It's in the valley. It's close. So
great. All right, can you get that to Mark and have him send it out in case
Sure.
anybody's, or Shell, somebody? All right. Is there anything on here that we're missing with regards to topics for workshops as we try to fill in dates? All right, not hearing any. All right, we are past, so we're back up to citizen comments. So if there's anybody in chambers, it looks like most staff and our /contact are here in chambers, but if there's anybody here who'd like to make a citizen comment, please fill out the white sheet. If there's anybody online, please send a note to our meeting host in the chat feature. We don't have anybody. All right, and if nobody is rushing to the podium here, so no citizen comment. So we will now get ready to adjourn to executive session per RCW 42.30.110(1)(f) regarding personnel manuals. We probably need 10 minutes or less, so we'll say 10 minutes. Maybe come back at 9:10. There will be no decisions. It's informational only, and there will be no action taken. So once we get out of that executive session, we will be adjourning. So for those of you who really want to stick around for just an adjournment notice, feel free. If not, have a great night. We will stop the recording now and we will come back at 9:10 to adjourn. All right, everybody, it's 9:10 as promised. No action was taken and there's no more business before the council. So we are adjourned at 9:10. Have a good evening.
Have a good evening. Thank you.
Thanks, Arlene.
Do you want to report to me?